classic fucking song. Hello. Welcome to a Saturday stream here on July 26, 2025. How the fuck are you? Blue SR. Good to see you. Good to see you. Hey, Atrioc, good luck today. Good luck today on what? Okay, that's ominous. Good luck with what? On learning? Okay, thank you for the luck. Sludge, thank you for the 4 months. Can't we wish you well? I mean, you can wish me well. It just, if someone came out of nowhere and said, hey, good luck today, and you didn't have anything big that you needed luck with, I guess you'd be a little nervous. You'd be a little, like, off-put. Did you finally go watch Superman? I haven't seen Superman yet. Stop asking me. I want to see it. I haven't seen it yet. Going to a movie in 2025 is like joining the Marines and deploying on a beachhead. It's difficult. It's fucking hard. You have to get tickets and go to a theater, drive there. You have to buy popcorn, and it disrupts your whole day. It's impossible, dude. It's impossible. Sometimes you got to get people together to do it. You have to organize schedules. It's impossible, dude. People know how difficult it is. I saw someone watching Superman on an airplane across the aisle. It looked like ass, not gonna lie. I think you saying this, 4 Hollywood directors just killed themselves. The idea that their movie could only be enjoyed while half listening in an airplane looking at someone else, and that's how you judge them, is very funny. That is very funny. Yeah, I'll probably see it. Or maybe I'll... Dude, here's the thing. Here's what they don't want you to tell you. Here's what the woke elite don't want you to know. Sometimes you just want to wait till it's on streaming. Or you just put it on your TV at home. You know, sometimes you don't want to go all the way to the fucking theater, bro. Sometimes you don't want to make a whole meal out of it. You're the problem? I'm in LA and I'm killing Hollywood. It's crazy. Shout out the woke elite. Hey, shout out the woke elite. They don't get the credit they deserve anymore. I finally saw the South Park everyone was talking about. It was funny. It was funny. Cartman trying to kill himself in an electric vehicle with the fumes was very funny. Yeah, it was good. It was funny. It was a good one. Superman like Smallville? Yes, like Smallville. Exactly. Oh, man, it's him. Thank you for the 2 months. Hackstream, first time watching the stream with my level-headed input from the U.S. Greens from Norway. Hackstream, how are things in Norway? Oh, they're great. We have a stable quality of life, and our national debt's really low because we have a giant sovereign wealth fund. Get over it, Hackstream. Get over snooze, dude. No news stories, I'll tell you. Yawn. People want drama. People want drama. I bet when you have to pay for healthcare, it's very little out of pocket, and you don't feel broken by it, which reduces your ability to have that fun drama in your life. Like, how am I going to pay for this surgery? It's interesting. Norway, more like no way. Dude, you know how some countries have like tourism campaigns? Like you'll see an ad to like go visit Peru or something. We should have our government run anti-tourism campaigns for Norway. Norway, more like no way. And it's a guy like yawning, bore in front of the Norwegian flag. Boring. And we run them all over the world, not just in America. We have that in the Netherlands for anti-British tourism to Amsterdam. Wait, is that real? Here you have anti-tourism ads, anti-British tourism ads, Netherlands.
Officials in the Dutch capital Amsterdam have launched a digital campaign to try to reduce the number of British tourists coming in search of drugs, sex and alcohol. Discouraging adverts like this one will target 18 to 35-year-old men in the UK. The messages are automatically triggered when search teams such as Stag Party,
That's so
or
funny.
search terms such as Stag Party, Cheap Hotel, or Pub Crawl.
So many chavs were going to the Netherlands and fucking it up. They made ads stay away.
In Amsterdam are typed in. Our correspondent Anna Holligan gave us this update.
Around 1 million British tourists travel here to Schiphol Airport and on to Amsterdam every year.
That's
and
crazy. I thought you were
the council
joking.
now has a message for young British men, and that is stay away. If you are in the UK and this is a digital discouragement campaign, so if you're in the UK and you search for terms like Stag Weekend Amsterdam, Cheap Hotel Amsterdam, Pub Crawl Amsterdam, then these warnings...
I can't imagine. Let's say you're a fucking soccer hooligan, 21 years old. You got your knife, your knife and your fish and chips, and you're a classic fucking chav, dude. And then you're Googling Stag Weekend Amsterdam, and you see an ad that goes, you know, don't come here. Are you really gonna click off? This is the type of person who wouldn't give one shit, dude. They wouldn't give one shit about your ad. They probably want to go more. It's more rebellious. It feels like taunting. Yeah, it feels like almost like pushing you to do it. Oslo had an advertisement where it was like Oslo's boring. Oslo boring ad. Oslo.
I wouldn't come here, to be honest. Oslo is just not... I mean, is it even a city? You know what I mean? Everything is just so available. You know, there's no exclusiveness. I grew up here, and I temporarily...
I gotta be honest with you. There's a disgusting lack of smog. I don't see a single Walmart. I don't see a parking lot. I don't see a freeway where you can fucking get moving in your... This is disgusting. This is like such a backwards village.
live here.
I feel like I'm looking at like a tribal village where they haven't discovered fire yet.
Unfortunately. I don't understand why people go swimming in the middle of the city. It's
Where's the
disgusting.
gentle hum of honking?
Have you ever been to Istanbul?
Oslo feels more like a village, maybe. I mean, you walk around a corner and it's like, oh, there's the prime minister. And you walk around the next corner, it's like, oh, there's the king.
I mean, you could just walk from one side.
Yeah, we've seen this. Anyway, that's funny. That's really more of an ad, though. You know, I don't know if you know, but they're being a little bit facetious. They're playing a little bit of a game where they say it's so boring, but they show you how good it is. Unlike the UK one, where it was like they really don't want you to come. Dublin, Ohio had an advertisement campaign where they offered free pints of Guinness to anyone from Dublin, Ireland. That's clever. It's kind of fun. I went to Dublin, Ireland, and everyone there wanted to talk about American football. And we went to a bar there, and everyone had American football on. I'm not kidding. I don't know if it was like just a specific group, but they were watching American football a lot. So, was it a gambling thing? I don't think so. Did you kiss the Blarney Stone? I don't even know what that is. Is that like Barney the dinosaur? Or is there something I'm missing? What is the fucking Blarney Stone? Blarney Stone. It's a famous stone located at the top of the Blarney Castle in Ireland. It's renowned for the tradition of kissing it.
How are you doing? So if you lie back here now, it's the bottom stone then. Yeah, hold the 2 bars now. See the bottom stone? Oh my god. Very bottom.
Oh my god.
Slide down there if you can. Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
Oh my god. I would not want to kiss that, bro. Millions of people kiss that, I assume, or hundreds of thousands of tourists. The herpes stone, bro. What if you, is this guy going to stop you if you start like really making out with it? If you want more luck than usual, and you're Frenching the Blarney Stone. Are they gonna pull you off, or do you get to do it as much as you want? Double the herp and pass it.
That makes you really dizzy, actually.
Who invented? Why would kissing this random stone become a thing? I don't understand that at all. Why is it 23 minutes? He goes back for another smooch. Why do anything? I guess that's a fair point. You know what? I guess it's a fair point. Why do anything? Maybe these little charms, these little superstitions are what add to the spice of life. Maybe kissing the Blarney Stone is just one small part of the beautiful fabric that is the nation of Ireland. And that what I'm saying is taking something beautiful and mystical and making it small and real. Powerful, powerful message. But I don't want my tax dollars to pay for your herpes medication. Maybe the Blarney Stone is a good kisser. Some guy made up this whole fucking tale because it's actually it's actually a great kisser. He just really enjoys being kissed. They had to post up guards in front of a statue in Dublin because everyone was grabbing its boobs. Yeah. That doesn't sound good. Kissing the Walmart door as a sign of respect to the States. If you come to LA, you could definitely kiss the 405 or something. I mean, you'll probably get run over, but you could do that, and that would be fucking cool. Kissing the Walmart door is very funny. Would you rather kiss the Blarney Stone or the Newfoundland mounted fish? I also know what that is. Newfoundland mounted fish. What is this thing? Do you kiss it? Kiss. What is the point of kissing a fish in Newfoundland? It's a beautiful ritual that involves recitation and alcohol. Apparently, there's a complex ceremony of Canadian fish kissing where you get drunk and kiss a fish. Boy, we're sorely lacking in culture here. Getting drunk and kissing a fish, I'm doing a ritual. Been there, done that, brother. We do that in Australia too. Raise your hand if your country makes out with fish regularly as part of a ceremony. I was born in the wrong country. I see. You guys are missing your chance. Okay. Today's Get Smarter Saturdays. I mean, we have plenty of time. We can vibe for a bit. But I do want to watch some interesting and learning videos today. I want people to submit interesting videos, and I want to watch them, and I want to learn from them. There was stuff I did want to watch myself that I will add to the docket, but I also want other people's fucking suggestions. That's what I want. Watch the Hunter Biden interview. I'm not going to watch the Hunter Biden interview, but I do want to watch one clip from it that I saw. The Hunter Biden interview is too long, I think.
Fuck.
Wait, what is this?
Fuck him.
Is that the clip I wanted? This is the one I wanted. This is the one I wanted.
The other day when Donald Trump pointed to the Declaration of Independence and said, you know, I'm against war. I think we could have saved 600,000 lives in the Civil War.
You look right up there. I don't know. See the Declaration of Independence, and I say, I wonder if the Civil War. It always seemed to me maybe that could have been solved without losing 600,000 plus people.
as if there's a connection between the Declaration of Independence and the Civil War. But can you imagine my dad did that? Can you imagine if he opened up that treaty with the Prime Minister Starmer at the G7 in Canada and all the pages fell out, and then he said that he just signed a treaty with the European Union with the Prime Minister of the UK standing next to him? Can you imagine? And then if he got on a plane and said the reason that he was going home early from the G7 is because he had a major announcement the next day, and then the next day he put up a flagpole? Can you imagine any of those things?
Dude, we need to get Hunter Biden and Eric Trump in a room to have a my dad could outthink your dad. Both of them just throwing examples of how their geriatric fathers that run our country have made incredibly embarrassing gaffes, and they just go back and forth. That would be fucking awesome. That would be pay-per-view. People would fucking watch that. That would be incredible. What else?
Can send you into seizures because your body is saying, I need this to live. And
dude, it says on here on the
you
podcast.
see the other day when Donald Trump pointed.
It was, he's got a section of this interview where he's talking about the difference between crack and cocaine. And somebody quote tweeted it and said, this is like asking LeBron about basketball. That cracked me up. It's just getting the GOAT to explain his fucking craft, dude. What do you say about?
You see the other.
About
fuck
George, this is about George Clooney.
him. Fuck him. Fuck him and everybody around him. Or not to be fucking nice. Number one, I agree with Quentin Tarantino. Fucking George Clooney is not a fucking actor. He is a fucking, I don't know what he is. He's a brand. And by the way, and God bless him. You know what? He supposedly treats his friends really well. You know what I mean? Buys them things. And he's got a really great place in Lake Como. And he's great friends with Barack Obama. Fuck you. What do you have to do with fucking anything? Why do I have to fucking listen to you? What right do you have to step on a man who's given 52 years of his fucking life to the service of this country and decide that you, George Clooney, are going to take out basically a full-page ad in the fucking New York Times to undermine the president at a time in which, by the way, what do people care about the most? Why do you think that the Republicans have an advantage over us? Because they're unified. They will go along with anything.
Well, that's not a good thing. I don't agree with this. Two parts of this are stupid. One of them, that the idea, like the first part of your message is that George Clooney is kind of irrelevant, which is pretty true. Nobody's making their political opinion based on George Clooney. But then your second part is that he undermined the president. But it shouldn't matter. Nobody changed their vote because of George Clooney. Nobody changed their vote because of George Clooney. George Clooney is a private citizen. He can do what he wants. If he doesn't fucking like Joe Biden, he can say it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking matter what George Clooney says. And the second thing is the idea that everyone has to be lockstep behind their leader because that's what fucking Donald Trump's fans do is a race to the bottom. Okay? That ends up with the worse and worse quality candidates because you can never give an inch.
I wasn't asking anybody to go along with anything. I was asking people to go along with this. The most successful administration in my lifetime. And I'm including the Obama administration, I'm including the Reagan administration, I'm including every administration in my lifetime. We have gotten more done for the agenda of the things that your generation and my generation cared about than any president in history. And we didn't get it all done. But more than anybody else, with the slimmest majority ever. And everybody said that there's no way that he's ever going to be able to do that.
Bro, another thing I want to say is we is crazy here. Bro thinks he's on the team? Bro, what were you doing? What were you doing? You're doing crack in the White House. Bro, what is this we, bro? Yeah. If anything, you were like an anvil or a cudgel that was used against your father. You made it harder for him to get it done. You were a pry bar. I don't know about no we, bro. Have you seen the meme Trump posted with him chasing down Obama in the OJ Bronco? Shit is wild. He's really going after the Obama stuff. There is no Obama stuff. He's just making up Obama stuff because it's the last thing people still like him for. Like his base still likes when you shit on Obama. You just put it's not even, it's just a photoshopped image of Obama on O.J. Simpson's face. And he's just, this is like the last thing he can still fucking ride or die. I mean, Hillary, I guess. If Hillary was, if he could somehow dunk on Hillary, he could still get some upvotes. He even has the Vance meme, yeah. Why is it Fat Vance? That's how we all see him, even the president. Did you see Nathan Fillion played Mario Kart with the Rizzler? I don't. I like Nathan Fillion and I'm tolerant of the Rizzler. I don't know that I need to. I don't know that I need to see it. If I'm Obama, I'm fucking pissed, RN. Like, leave me the fuck alone at this point. Hopefully that's not the reason Obama's pissed. Hopefully he's got more reasons to be pissed with how things are going than just that, like, God, I'm fucking pissed he put my face on O.J. Simpson. Anyway, the interview does have some good fucking points. Actually, let's finish this clip.
And you know what George Clooney did? Because he sat down, I guess because he was like given the blessing by the Obama team or the Obama people and whoever else, and David Axelrod and whoever the fuck else, is to go, okay, yeah, you know what? We are going to insert our judgment over yours. Me and James Carville, who hasn't run a race in 40 fucking years, and David Axelrod, who had one success in his political life, and that was Barack Obama. And that was because of Barack Obama, not because of fucking David Axelrod. And David Plouffe, and all of these guys, and the Pod Save America guys, who were junior fucking speechwriters in, on Barack Obama's Senate staff, who have been dining out on the relationship with him for years, making millions of dollars. The Anita Dunns of the world, who's made $40, $50 million off the Democratic Party. They're all going to insert their judgment over a man who has figured out, unlike anybody else, how to get elected to the United States Senate over 7 times, how to pass more legislation than any president in history, how to have a better midterm election than anybody in history, and how to garner more votes than any president that has ever run. And they're going to replace their judgment for his. Fuck him.
I like that. He's crashing out. I mean, you know what? Get you a son who defends you like Hunter Biden. I'll say that. That's a proud papa there. If you're Joe, you're a proud papa, dude. You got to stop by your dad. I don't respect him for standing by his dad. I disagree that Joe Biden's judgment was so sound or so reliable. I think he was in a pretty easy district to win, and he won Senate 7 times. Yeah, and then he won a president against Donald Trump at the height of his unpopularity during COVID. It wasn't like an incredible election win. And then he should have dropped out way earlier on this last one. And had he dropped out way earlier, we could have got a real primary and a better chance than fucking Kamala Harris. So I disagree, but like if you're somebody's son, like I don't know, I would back up my dad just as hard, 100%. Listen, my dad is the Lil W master, dude. Never fucking doubt his bars. Every joke hits. If he never ran in 24, he'd be remembered by history. Yeah, I've said that a million times. I 100% agree. It would have been a gangster move. It would have been a fucking Chad move to purposefully not run again. To purposely say I'm a one-term stop Trump kind of guy, and I'm going to pass it. Why didn't your dad run? That's a good question. Dude, my dad, honestly, he lives to dive now. Sorry to leak my dad's hobbies, but my dad, his whole life is oriented around scuba diving. He got into it. He got into it like in the past, I don't know, year and a half. And he just loves scuba diving. I I don't know what license he has, but it's like an advanced one. And all he thinks about is scuba diving. Not all he thinks about, obviously, but it's his biggest, like when he's working, he's thinking about scuba diving. His vacations are planned around scuba diving. He just really likes it. It's just funny how much he's gotten into it. Why does he hate the dry land? That's a good question. I don't know why he's lost touch with the land. Human beings weren't meant to live under the sea, dude. Why doesn't he learn a useful skill like tower diving? Tell my dad to get rid of this hobby that brings him joy and pick up League of Legends and become a tower diving jungler. That's a good idea. That would be a better use of his time. Don't let your dad get into cave diving, scary shit. Wait. I want to show you a fucking channel. I got recommended the most slop channel of all time. How am I ever going to find it? I pull up Ludwig's channel. No. I think this is it. Oh, there's a bunch of these, huh? Wow, there's more than I thought. There's more than I fucking thought. This is crazy. Wait, I can't wait to show you this. Let me just get one more, because I still haven't found the one I was looking for. Wait. There. Oh my God. Dude, look how many of these there are. Okay. Here. Look. Apparently, there is a fucking money printing machine. A money printing machine on YouTube, which is to make an AI slop video with drawn art about cave deaths. You know, like the most painful cave deaths of all time. Stuck for months, 12 days. This is a channel called, Simple Paint Explainer, the Paint Explainer. They use paint, and they keep farming this over and over. Caves flooding, painful cave deaths. And then I looked up the stick tragedy, the most claustrophobic caving situations, most disturbing deaths due to natural selection, can't breathe, most weirdest caving deaths ever, most nasty ways cavers get twisted in maze-like caves. That's not even a good title. What the fuck? Most nasty ways cavers get twisted in maze-like caves? The same title twice. The same 2K views? Yeah, but this one has 1 million. 1 million. They just repeat it. They just fucking farm 1 million of these caves. That's this channel, The Stick Tragedy. But there's also Simple Paint. The most avoidable cave deaths ever. 973K views in 13 days. The most unnecessary. It's like a fucking J-Schlatt sponsor video, but it's but it's for cave. Who the fuck is watching all these? What is the human need to watch people stuck in a small cave? This is weird. There's so many. Then there's good enough. Wait, videos popular? Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Oh yeah, there was one. The deadliest caves in the world, 715K views. This is strange, bro. God, there's so much dead internet theory. There's just so much slop. There's just so much slop. They're just biting salmonella shit. Yeah, there's infinite ones though. It turns out that the human audience for this kind of slop is much bigger than salmonella can put out. It's not dead internet theory, it's capitalism theory. Socialism is when no cave diving videos. Oh my God, please shut the fuck up. Please shut the fuck up, bro. My God. Paid Explainer was kind of cool for their first few videos, but that was before all the cave stuff. You think this was cool? I mean, if it's a human, it's fine. If it was a human, then I guess whatever. A human. But I get the deep sense that these videos are a ChatGPT script, an AI voice, and they farm out the production to Fiverr. That's the sense I get with these videos. I legitimately don't think a human being is actually putting real thought into them. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. He also could have sold the channel, yeah. Atrioc found twisted. Do you think if I do an IRL stream where I get stuck in a cave and die, I could get some real views? Do you think that would be... 10 mil views easy? Interesting. It would kind of suck to do it, and then it's not, it's just my normal view count. You and Squeak stuck in a cave? Oh, God. The cave-a-thon, dude. Problem? Big A, I got AoE 2 yesterday because of you and started playing Vikings. This game is so hard. It's the hardest fucking game I've ever played in my whole life. Not kidding. It's the hardest fucking game. It might be the hardest game in the world. I'm actually not kidding. I think you could take a fucking... What's the highest rank in Apex Predator? Fucking Epstein? Fucking Predator Elite? Whatever it is. You could take someone like that and put them in Age of Empires and they would fucking kill themselves. They would not be able to get above 800 elo. It's actually so hard. It's actually so hard. Harder than StarCraft? Maybe. Honestly, maybe. I know that sounds fucking crazy. I don't think it's harder than beating Koreans at StarCraft. That's the hardest thing in the world. But because AoE is more active in the West, there's just so much to do. StarCraft at least has the beautiful, gorgeous thing that there's only one mineral. You just get the minerals and you can build everything with minerals. But in this, you need stone and gold and food and wood. And if you have the ratio wrong, your economy evaporates. If I put fucking 12 villagers on food, but only 7 on wood, then my economy inflates with food, and it's fucking disgusting. Yes, I understand you need gas. I understand that, but it's a hard game, dude. It's probably the hardest game I've ever played. Hey, Street Needle, say for the 32 months. All right, guys, let's watch some videos. Let's open up with a video at least, and then we can talk about whatever the fuck we want. But I would like to kick off Get Smarter Saturdays with something interesting, maybe short. The rules of Get Smarter Saturdays are pretty well established at this point, but if you don't know, the video cannot be too long. The video cannot be too boring. But at the end of the video, we have to have learned something. That's the idea. And so I'm connecting my channel to GetSmarterSaturdays.com, and we are now open. Boom! Boom! And you could now link your video in chat, and we can see it on here and decide what to watch. I'm looking for something kind of interesting. I'm scared for Ireland. Why is Hank Green scared for Ireland?
Hello. Recently I went to Ireland. Beautiful place, amazing people, lush and green and ancient and poetic and extremely...
Is he scared for Ireland because of the Blarney Stone and it's not kissable enough? Is he saying he went to Ireland and tried to kiss the Blarney Stone, but he wasn't attracted to it anymore in its old age? And so now he can't get the luck he used to get when he... And this is a 14-minute video about that?
Confusing. Things I was confused by. Northern Ireland, still just there. Part of the UK, border, very hard in theory, very squishy in practice. Up there just destroying the very idea of Brexit. What do you do with a problem like Northern Ireland? Everybody has opinions. No one's opinions are the same as each other. It feels like everybody's just sort of sipping tea over a political landmine, and I love that. Okay. I wish that more places in the world could arrive where you are. That's good. But weird, second surprise, many of the roads appear appear to have been designed by people who enjoy base jumping. Everybody's moving real quick down what appear to be one-lane, two-way roads. I don't know if it's zen, I don't know if it's practice, I don't know if it's just being resigned to your fate, but my biggest surprise is that honestly I thought I was going to get there and finally I would have found a group of people who knew about the AMOC. In America, I kind of get it. Not thinking about the AMOC very much, but in Ireland...
I have no idea what the AMOC is. Is this a non-American thing? Wait, let me get this set up. What the fuck is the AMOC? Is that when Big A mocks you? Because I'm not that mean. I barely mock anybody. I'm actually a really nice guy. People often say it. In this chat, they spam this thing called YOK that means you're okay because Atrioc has been so nice to you. And they do it when I'm really nice to people. He explains the AMOC. Oh, no, I'm just setting up my thing. Okay.
In Ireland, the Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation is the thing that makes Europe livable. Because if you look at a map, Ireland is shockingly far north. Dublin is farther north than Calgary, than Quebec City. It is at the same latitude as the southern tip of Alaska. And yet, not snow, rain, not permafrost, sheep. Ireland owes its mild winters to a planetary plumbing system the size and depth of an ocean. The Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation, henceforth to be called the AMOC, is a massive loop of water that drags heat from the tropics north all the way to northern Europe and then sends cold water plunging back down in the deep ocean back toward the equator.
This is how South America can get back at Europe after 100 years of meddling, okay? Put up a big dam right here and keep all the hot water to themselves. Or tariff it, okay? All of a sudden, bada bing, bada boom, the cash is flowing this direction. Pre-watched? 5 seconds later, Hank Green drawing a diagram of a giant dam throughout the entire...
Without it, Dublin's January would be less like that
Atlantic
constant
Ocean.
dreary drizzle and more like Siberia. And by the way, one of the most annoying things in the world to me is knowing that a huge number of people will never see news stories about the AMOC simply because of the news sources they read. Which brings me to this video's sponsor, Ground News. Ground News is a who spoke out against Trump policies to rate bias and faction than cold water, because a link at ground.news/Hank. Hot water actually takes up a little bit more space than cold water because it's just jiggling around more, so it knocks into other water molecules more, and that means fewer water molecules in the same volume of water. It's less dense, so it will float on top of cold water. So the water of the tropical ocean is hit up by the equatorial sun that just hits with more energy than if it's doing like glancing blows at the upper latitude, so it just gets hotter there, and that warm layer sort of rides on top of the colder stuff below. Up north, you have a different situation. That water is going to be colder. It's going to be more dense. It's not going to be knocking around as much. And so the molecules slow down. They're closer together. And that's more dense water. These two things on their own, however, are not a big enough difference to set off a giant conveyor belt that's moving trillions of gallons of water a second. There is another factor, a more important factor, and it's salt. As tropical water evaporates under the sun, the salt cannot evaporate. It doesn't go into the sky. It stays there in the ocean. And salt is really good at like nesting cozily inside of water. So when you add salt to water, you only increase its volume a little bit while you increase its mass more. More stuff in less volume means more density. The water is heavier per unit of volume. And because of a few different things, water from the equatorial tropics moves
northward. By the way, sorry to jump in with my science on my own, but this is why salt water is better for you to drink. It fills you up quicker. So if you're thirsty, you should drink more salt water because it'll you don't need as much water to feel full. This is like a little, I know Hank's probably going to get to that, probably pre-watched, sorry, but I just want you guys to know this because I'm a bit of a scientist myself.
That includes like actual wind currents that are literally blowing the wind northward, but also because that denser water at the top, that colder water is going to go down into the deep ocean, and that's going to pull something in behind it. And temperature is enough to make that happen like a tiny bit, but that sets off something much bigger, because as the water from the tropics moves northward, it's going to be evaporating that whole way. It's up at the top of the ocean, and you can only evaporate from the top. And as it is evaporating, it is becoming more and more dense because because all that salt is being left behind. And so at this point in our history, as it hits kind of the top of the Atlantic Ocean, it plunges down because it's going to be super cold and it's going to be super saline. I mean, not actually super saline. It's going to be comparatively much more saline than water at the tropics. And when that water plunges down, it doesn't just leave like an empty space behind it. We know that. Warm water from the tropics is going to have to rush in to fill that space. It's going to get pulled up from the equator, bringing all of that tropical heat with it. And the greater the density of the water at these northern latitudes, because of both cold and salinity, the more tropical water has to rush northward to replace it as it plunges down into the depths of the Atlantic Ocean.
Makes sense to me, Hank Green.
Even though I have already hinted otherwise, that the big problem we are worried about here is not enough cold to cool down the water to become dense, but no. That's part of the problem, but the bigger problem,
what's the problem?
Is Greenland. Greenland is leaking. It's maybe collapsing. I can make a whole episode on Greenland. We're not going to, though. There's a lot of water pouring off of Greenland, and the water pouring off of Greenland today began as snow, frozen vapor that drifted down from the sky that probably...
Not to jump ahead here, but could we fix this by simply all sending ice cubes and air conditioners to Greenland to keep it really chilly? Like if we just crank up the AC, would that should do it? What if we put Greenland in a fridge?
Initially evaporated from the ocean, leaving...
Just watch the vid, little bro. Hey, big bro. Why don't you watch the fucking vid? I was going to ban you, but you used to be sub for 2 months, and I respect that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to time you out for 6 years. See you in fucking hell. All right? If I want to pause and talk about the video on my stream, that's what I'm going to fucking do. You can go, sit alone in your room, close the curtains, and watch the YouTube video by yourself. Right? Obviously. How many seconds in 6 years? Oh, God, it's too many. All right. It's too many for me. It's too many, dude. All right, I'll do fucking... There. Okay, timed out. It was a week. Bro. It was a week.
The salt behind in the ocean. Snow and rain fall as fresh water. And so now that snow has compacted into glacial ice over decades and centuries and millennia, storing fresh water way above sea level like a frozen reservoir of pure fresh water. Now, as the climate warms, that ice is melting fast. 250 billion tons of ice per year.
Is this woke? I thought he was going to end by saying, and that's why we got to pray to Christ more. Is this whole video woke about climate change? I thought this is a safe Christian video. Oh, I didn't know it was woke. Hank Green? I thought Hank Green was like Joe Rogan. I didn't know he thought climate change is real.
Year is melting. All of it is dumping fresh, unsalted water into the ocean. And in the North Atlantic, that's mixing with all of the dense, salty water, and that means that the water is becoming less salty and thus less dense. The more fresh water floods into the North Atlantic, the harder it is for the water to sink. And when the water doesn't sink, the warm current behind it slows down.
Okay, is this... I get what he's saying, but is the whole point of this saying, as the climate warms... Ireland will get colder. Am I getting the gist of it? Okay.
It isn't yanking on it as hard, and the heat that normally comes with the water does not get delivered. Now, just so you know, this would be...
I'll say it. Europe is going through an air conditioning crisis right now. Maybe they could use it. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they could use it. They're dying. They're literally dying en masse from not having air conditioning. Maybe they could use it. They could use a little cool down of the AMOC, and there's no negative long-term effects. It's solving problems.
bad for everywhere. Why? Because we have built our societies to expect weather to be a certain way, and this would change the weather everywhere. Now, of course, it would particularly change the weather anywhere that is exposed in the northern hemisphere to the Atlantic Ocean, because that's where the AMOC largely operates. Though it's going to affect weather everywhere because it turns out the AMOC interacts with all the other ocean currents, but it is a particularly big...
Time to invest in Euro AC companies? That's not even a joke. I've considered it. I'm seriously considering trying to find the company that would profit the most from building air conditioning across major UK and German and Spanish cities and investing in it, because that is a trend that is going to happen. They have to do that. It's priced in. You know, you think that it's all priced in, but a company like Nintendo has proved that it really isn't. It's not really priced in until the numbers are real.
Effect for things that live in the northern hemisphere and the Atlantic Ocean and land that is exposed to that. For example, in the tropics, the heat that would normally get sucked northward instead gets stuck there and doesn't go anywhere, and that makes things hotter there, which is bad. Let's be honest, it is hot enough down there already, both for the people and the animals. If the AMOC slows down or shuts down, the heat will get stuck in the tropics, but it also won't get delivered to northern Europe. And the countries most impacted by this are the ones with the most exposure to AMOC, which includes, obviously, Ireland. It's sitting there right on the edge of the Atlantic. I mean, Norway also. They would be hit pretty hard as well, and possibly harder. But at least Norway is like a petro state, so they kind of deserve it. Sorry.
I was going to say the same thing. And I wasn't going to say sorry, AMOC. I'm sorry, like Hank Green calling you AMOC. I was going to say the same thing, and I was not going to apologize, bro. Finally. I pray every day for some bad news for Norway, because they're just fucking mogging the world. Thank you, dude. Thank you.
I shouldn't say that, but you are. You gotta admit, Norway. Everybody's like, Norway's so amazing, but like, they got a lot of oil. They're just pumping out and putting in their sovereign wealth fund. Ireland didn't get that. They just have peat, which is not as...
Well, Ireland has something. It's called fucking corporate tax haven status. Okay? So that when Apple makes $80 billion in profit, it's really Apple Ireland, who is just loaning the trademark of Apple to its American counterpart for some reason. Apparently, all the intellectual talent of Apple is taking place in a small office in Ireland, and that's why they have to pay all the money to them. How lucky for them. I guess Ireland's just a really fucking brilliant place. That's where all the knowledge comes from.
As useful, and also they already harvested most of it, which they really shouldn't have done, but that's a different video. There's reasons why. One of the things from going to Ireland I realized is everything's complicated. But anyway, if the AMOC shuts down, which is a big if, climate change will have caused a surprise cold blob for Northern Europe. So warming climate, but Europe very cold. You've seen Day After Tomorrow. It's like that, except it wouldn't happen like the day after tomorrow, but it would happen very fast. It would happen on the order of like years, not even decades, like maybe a couple of decades. And the system has shut down before. Around 13,000 years ago, the AMOC abruptly shut down, plunging the North Atlantic into a 1,000-year deep freeze called the Younger Dryas. Temperatures in Europe dropped by up to 10 degrees Celsius, which for us Americans is 18 degrees Fahrenheit. On average. That means a place that's usually 45 degrees hanging out way above freezing is now way below freezing. I'm talking
deep freeze on my fucking wrist. Maybe shit's icy. Bars. Freezer shirts for free doesn't sound that bad. Yeah, I don't know. You wear a bigger coat.
Fahrenheit here. And here's the thing. The AMOC might be shutting down. It also might not be. And this is why I am paying so much attention to it. So there was a 2025 study, very recent study from Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution that found no evidence that the AMOC has been weakening over the last 60 years. They were looking at air-sea heat fluxes instead of just surface temperatures, and they say that the AMOC appears more stable than we thought, whereas other recent studies suggest that the AMOC is already weakening, maybe approaching a tipping point, and this is a real tipping point. The AMOC can slow And that can be linear at first. It could be like, it gets a little bit warmer and a little bit more fresh water and it slows down and it slows down. But eventually it actually shuts off. And that means that it goes from like slowing to nothing quite quickly. One 2021 paper found early warning signs of this critical transition. Another in 2023 suggested the shutdown could occur this century, possibly as early as 2050. That would be very bad. For Ireland, that...
Dude. Hank Green, are you trying to get me to care about a problem in 2050? A problem for Europeans in 2050? I don't have that many fucks to give. I mean, you're right. You're so right, bro. There's more pressing issues. I gotta care about the fate of a European Gen Beta in their 40s. This is why people aren't investing in AMC. What are you talking about? All meme stocks are up, dude. Meme stock mania is back. There's new ones. People are like, oh, I'm much smarter now. I don't do GameStop and AMC. I do Krispy Kreme and GoPro. Fucking stupid. They're so back. It's all back. Are those really hot now? I guess I'm interrupting this video, but Krispy Kreme stock. Krispy Kreme stock jumped fucking 70% on no news. Like literally no news. Like there wasn't like a sales boost. Just out of the blue, Krispy Kreme stock jumped 70%. Because it's a meme, dude. Because it's hitting social media. Oh, the stock market's most unserious season is back and dorkier than before. Yeah, so fucking true. 10 hour. From Krispy Kreme to GoPro, has meme stock trading frenzy returned? Yeah, it's back. Meme stocks are back, bro. Had a cheat day, my bad. Soji in chat ate so many Krispy Kremes, the stock fucking mooned. We're back!
It means colder, drier summers, stormier in the winter. They and the UK could lose like 5 to 10 degrees Celsius in average temperature. Agriculture on the coast, infrastructure, water systems that developed under a temperate regime would be hit very hard. You have a bunch of people who have never had to worry about their pipes freezing. Suddenly, their pipes are freezing all the time. And there's huge effects outside of that region as well. Rainfall in the tropics would be disrupted. Sea levels along the American East Coast would rise probably significantly because the AMOC currently helps keep them.
I'm getting this gloomy, sinking feeling that climate change is bad. That it might have bad weather effects and geopolitical effects. This sounds like I'm being
lower.
psyoped.
And coral reefs in the tropics, already under stress from bleaching and acidification, would have those problems probably get worse. Heat trapped in the tropics doesn't just make the air warmer, it raises the ocean temperature, and many corals are living just a degree or two below their thermal limit. So even a small shift in ocean heat distribution could push entire reef systems to the brink, especially if they're...
It's called climate change, not climate bad. Don't worry, sweetie. Okay. It's called climate change. Change is good. Therefore, it's a good. Right? Change equals good, so it's climate good.
being disturbed by other things like agricultural or urban runoff or overfishing, killing not just the coral, but the ecosystems and the economies they support. Basically, a lot of modern life is built on this ocean current.
Being like an oil industry executive who rebrands yourself as a climate progressive because you want it to change. Rebranding the whole movement as like climate progressivism. Like, wow, you want climate to stay the same? Fucking old and tired. Some of us want us to move forward.
Being stable. That affects
We've had the same climate. You want the same climate as back in the 50s when we had racism? Yikes. Fucking yikes.
the whole world. It affects people in the northern region of the Atlantic basin the most, and people in northern Europe, which includes Ireland, the most of all of those people. It is an actual example of a significant tipping point that would have a really severe and significant impact on the people living in the area affected. And because of that, even though
All right, we have 3 minutes left, Hank Green. I need you to tell me why I don't have to do anything when there's no problem. Okay? Every good climate change video needs to end with if we don't change this by 2060, so that we can all agree that it's someone else's problem and it'll be fine. Okay? You have 3 minutes left, so.
I'm not particularly exposed to the Atlantic basin, I think about the AMOC all the time. Very recently, on June 20th, there was another study with a different result than the Woods Hole study that showed the last century of declines of the AMOC. They talk about this little cold blob that has started to form over the last 100 years off the coast of Ireland. And that blob has been confusing scientists for a long time. It's just this patch of cold water in the Atlantic that refuses to warm up even as the rest of the Atlantic heats. But now it looks like they have identified the AMOC as the culprit, which has been, a leading theory for a while. They looked at nearly 100 completed climate models with a century of temperature and salinity records, and only the models that showed a weakened AMOC matched what we're...
This video's kind of... I'm going to out-woke this woke video. Okay, get ready. Get ready. I'm going to out-woke it. I'm going to out-woke this video. This video is a little Eurocentric. I don't know if you guys noticed. Why is Hank Green focusing so much on the problems of Ireland getting a little colder when, in fact, South America is going to get floods and become way warmer? He's seemingly ignoring the larger problem to the global south to focus on his heritage in Ireland? Interesting. Just so interesting. Do we cancel Hank Green for this? I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes.
Seeing in the real world with colder, fresher water in the subpolar North Atlantic. And if the AMOC really has been weakening for over a century,
Check blue
that
sky,
means
Hank.
the fuse was lit before we even knew there was a bomb. But for clarity, we are very far away from scientific consensus here. We know that it can happen because it did happen right before the Younger Dryas. It set off the Younger Dryas. That was a bad period for people in Northern Europe. This is not a video about this, but there is a theory that some of the first civilizational work was set off by the Younger Dryas. So this was in Turkey. So Northern Europe basically was completely abandoned. People there either died or they migrated out. And other places where there was a shock, but it was still livable, there maybe it set off sort of a period of greater cooperation and sort of cultural building.
Then it'll all be good.
But, I mean, let's hope.
It'll all be good.
Hope. Point is, different studies are showing different potential futures for the AMOC. We have powerful tools and techniques that are far more powerful than what we had even 50 years ago, but we need more tools. We need more data. We can't fast forward the Earth to see what happens and then go back and adjust based on that. We have to try and do the work to predict the future, which is hard but not impossible. How likely an AMOC shutdown has huge implications on the costs of climate change and how we will deal with it. And the fact that my federal government is spending less money on studying the Earth, and especially less money on studying climate change, is very worrying to me, because fewer tools is not going to get us where we need to go. So yeah, I thought, okay, in the US, maybe we don't think about the AMOC much because it's just one more thing. At least when I go to Ireland, people will have heard about it. It's right on their front door, but indeed not. So this video is for the Irish and the Norwegians and also the people anywhere in Europe. It's not just going to be the coastal areas affected
nobody's
if the
talking
AMOC
about
shuts
the
down.
AMOC
And of
in
course,
regular
also
life
everybody else
anywhere.
who's watching this, I'm very glad that you now know more about the AMOC. I really hope that we keep it chugging along for another 12,000 years. As Greenland continues to melt, this seems less and less likely, but let's hope that it's like Woods Hole study stable and not UC Riverside stable, but we just don't know, and we need to figure this out. And for clarity, there probably are going to be people who are mad at me for saying that we don't know, because they feel like we do know one way or the other, but that's the thing. People who are really well educated on this and study it professionally disagree with each other. And the next time you see a news story about the AMOC, I hope you'll click on it, because it's one of the bigger stories of the 21st century, and I really hope it turns out okay.
I'll just skim the headline, and then I will make a bold claim about it on social media. Thanks, Hank. Thank you, Hank. That was actually a good video. Interesting. I'll ask Grok if this is true. How China is quietly bracing for conflict with India?
China is.
That sounds interesting. That sounds very interesting. 3 days ago, 1 million views, 900K views. Dude, I got to tell you something. Taiwan, I mean, China's bracing for conflict with Taiwan. Taiwan, we covered this on the channel, but it was a while ago, so maybe you don't know. Taiwan's ruling party is the Green DPP party, which is the most anti-China party. They're the ones that are like, hey, Beijing's a real problem. Taiwan wants to be independent, yada, yada, yada. So they just held a big recall to get rid of the pro-China lawmakers, the ones within China that are trying to be, like, well, maybe we should just become friends with China or become part of China. Who knows? And they had a recall vote and they lost the vote. So nobody got recalled. So I don't know what's like Taiwan is Taiwan itself is fighting itself, bro. I don't that just happened. It was like today. Do you think if USA doesn't defend Taiwan, it will send a message to our other allies and possibly break NATO? Dude, if China invades Taiwan, the geopolitical consequences are going to be massive in so many ways. It's not just defending it. Defending it could be World War III. Do you know what I'm saying? Not defending it could send signals. Yeah, I mean, that's the big thing of our next 15 years, right? 10 years, maybe less. I don't know. One thing I was thinking about today is, we talk about how old Biden was or how old Trump is, but the entire world has old leadership right now. Almost the entire world. Everyone's going to have counterexamples, but Iran's leadership's in their 80s. China's leadership's in their 70s. Russia's leadership in their 70s. America's in their late 70s. There's so many big geopolitical actors have old leadership, and they're all old, and they're all trying to do like legacy stuff at the moment out the door. And it's hard to care about the future or care about things other than like making your legacy when you're that old. And if you're like 50 and you do something stupid, well then the reputation will follow you for the rest of your life. But if you're like 80 and do something stupid, you're dead. Who cares? It's it's just crazy how this gerontocracy ruled by the old is in so many countries. Let's watch this video. How China's quietly bracing for conflict with India.
Spending more than $40 billion on this railway through the Himalayas. Once complete, it will connect Chengdu, a major city in southwestern China, to Lhasa, the capital of the Tibet Autonomous Region, lowering the travel time from 34 hours to 13 hours.
Yawn.
This is just one part of a massive
China builds another train. Yawn. We get it.
Construction spree along China's roughly 2,000-mile land border with India. Both countries have disputed the exact border for decades, but the dynamic has shifted drastically over the last several years, as China has invested in extensive roads, heliports and airports, and it's building or expanding hundreds of border villages. China has generally argued the build-up is focused on economic development, but the potential military applications of this infrastructure has some Indian officials concerned, and experts say China's extreme efforts to dominate the region are creating an increasingly flammable situation between two major world powers.
Interesting.
The Chinese military's Western Theatre Command is massive, about 2.6 million square miles, more than 80% of the area of the contiguous.
Have they considered building a wall? Maybe a great one. Historically, I think that's been rather successful. I don't know if that could
United States. Much of this region has long been remote, inaccessible, and poor.
This is very punishing terrain we're talking about.
Since the 90s, China has built thousands of miles of roads through Tibet, especially in recent years. Many of these go parallel to or extremely close to the border, which has made these areas much more accessible. Because many of these roads could also be used for military purposes, what experts call dual use.
This land looks very cheap. Do you guys think we should all just move to southern China / northern India and we could get a fucking commune going? Looks like just rocks. Yeah, but we'd probably get subsidies from the Chinese government to build out there, as long as we put up Chinese flags.
Also controversial. In 2020, for instance, India's construction of a road near the border was cited as a contributing factor to a deadly clash between Chinese and Indian troops in Ladakh. India has continued building some roads by the border, including some impressive projects, like a tunnel across the Sila Pass, and a more than 1,000-mile Arunachal frontier highway is currently in progress.
Jesus.
But India's border roads are more limited overall, and most of its projects are smaller. In addition to roads, China has also invested heavily in trains along the corridor.
The primary purpose of these high-speed railway lines is connectivity. But the fact of the matter is, once you have a high-speed rail, it takes only an order to make sure that instead of tourists, you have soldiers being transported on those railway lines.
Yeah,
and that's where the challenge comes.
The concern is that this infrastructure network could enable a small dispute in a remote territory to quickly spiral into a large conflict.
China's ability to mobilize its forces on the Indian border has changed dramatically over time. In the late 90s, early 2000s, people were talking about a month that Chinese forces would need to mobilize and then actually go for war with India. Now we hear about a time period of 5 to 7 days.
In 2006, China completed the first major train line in Tibet, the Qinghai-Tibet Railroad. The government spent more than $4 billion to connect the western Chinese city.
Do you ever get major FOMO from this? What, from the conflict or from the trains? I hope you're saying the trains. Hopefully you're not getting FOMO because we don't have a giant border dispute with India. We have enough conflict of our own, all right? I don't think America is getting FOMO.
Of Xining to Lhasa. Now it's working on something even more ambitious, the Sichuan-Tibet Railway, which would speed up the journey through the Himalayas, directly connecting the headquarters of the PLA's Western Theatre Command to the capital of the Tibet Autonomous Region. For China,
I wish Mexico was a rising superpower that we had extreme tension with. SAG. God, if only, dude. If only. I mean, that would actually be cool. What if that's what gets us trains throughout the Southwest? What if we had a border dispute with Mexico, so we built trains all throughout the Southwest so that we could mobilize troops to the front, dude? That'd be awesome.
This is important to make Tibet more accessible. For India, though, it means easier Chinese access to the disputed border. India has plans to increase trains on its side of the border,
bridge,
but its overall system is much more limited.
As far as the railway lines are concerned, Indian infrastructure is non-existent.
Another area of Indian concern is China's increasing air power along the corridor.
India has a much larger numerical air force advantage against China. Firstly, it has a lot more air bases, and they are also located a lot closer to the front line than the Chinese ones are. But another element of this is that China has the most missile-centric concept of warfare anywhere in the world.
China is estimated to have more than 600 nuclear warheads, many of which could reach India. India is estimated to have only 118 nuclear warheads.
This scene is in every video about war, nuclear war, and it's like, who fucking cares? Only 118? Only 1 billion people dead? Who cares? What? Oh, I have 150, but you only have 90. It's fucking ridiculous. This is enough nuclear warheads to end life on Earth. The way people talk about nuclear war is so funny. It's like, This could be 5-5, and it would be enough to, like, nothing should happen.
While both countries have sophisticated aircraft in their arsenal, this is another area where China has made significant strides.
It is
me hugging my single warhead. It's okay, buddy. It's okay, champ. Stupid comment.
It's an interesting time to actually look at air power and the air picture along China-India border, particularly given India-Pakistan conflict, in which the Pakistan side used China-manufactured aircraft in actual combat. It's definitely quite a sobering moment, I think, for the Indian military.
Another significant part of China's border development effort has been moving citizens closer to the Indian state of Arunachal Pradesh.
If China moves all its cities right to the border, if you try to nuke them, you'll pretty much be nuking yourself. That's nine-head play. If they move, everybody in China stands right on the border. It's like nearly impossible to nuke.
It claims this is actually part of its own territory. Between 2018 and 2023, China's registered population in border areas increased by 10.5%, according to government work reports.
Dude, that's what Canada should do. Wait. If you're Canada and you don't have nuclear weapons, right? So you can't fight a nuclear war with the United States if Trump's being crazy. So what do? All you have to do is build a giant fan like right here and right here and right here. And it aims south. So if there's any nukes in Canada, the radioactive fallout is just blowing straight down to America. The wind already does that. The wind needs a little bit of help of its own. Okay, sometimes you can't rely on nature to do the thing. Trump gets lucky, dude. I wouldn't put it past Trump to nuke fucking Toronto and then a gigantic gust of wind, a generational gust of wind blows north for a generation. And he, and he just tweeting, yeah, plan the whole thing. Okay? He gets lucky. You want the fan. You're going to want the fan. Toronto would have housing price. Toronto could get nuked and housing prices would go up. I promise you that. A nuclear weapon could hit Toronto and the fucking studio apartment there they'd double the rent. Scarcer supply, yeah.
India has started a similar initiative, what it's calling the Vibrant Villages program, but it's not as advanced. Some China watchers worry border villages could be used by China as military staging posts in a potential conflict. Or at the very least, they're a way for China to strengthen its claim to the land where they sit.
To some degree, the Chinese government's calculation is really about creating political bargaining chips and facts on the ground, potentially for political negotiations.
China uses so-called active defense on many of its borders. And it's also known for pressing neighbors into difficult positions by using what experts refer to as salami slicing tactics.
We talked about this.
Where it gets away with major power grabs by cutting them into many incremental moves that are too small to meet much resistance. While China and India have made some steps recently to improve their relationship over the border, experts say the situation remains tense. For instance, China recently issued new Chinese names for dozens of places in the Indian-controlled territory of Arunachal Pradesh, which it also claims.
As of today, the relationship is really at an inflection point because both countries really need...
I think it's so funny. I don't fully understand it. We talked about this yesterday, but I don't fully understand the motivation behind a lot of these leaders for territorial gains like this, because the value of the land is so low. I'm not saying you should give up territory, but if you took the effort to agree on a line on a border and stick to it, the resulting trade boost from better, less tensions with your neighbor is going to be worth so much more than a few meters of ground. It's maybe it's a reputation, maybe it's an internal polling thing and you seem stronger to your people, but it feels so foolish because China and India having no tensions at all would be infinitely stronger for both of them. They would both be in a better spot. So how much is the land worth? How much is a few extra meters of land worth? It's not a few meters, it's hundreds of kilometers. Yeah, but I just mean relatively. Like, China's massive. They have enough land for their people. This extra land is being forcibly filled. But the population isn't even growing in China. It's shrinking. It's not. Now, again, as I've always said, if there's like really valuable resources in that land, then I get it. I always get it. I understand. If there's like some rare earth mineral or there's something, then I get the dispute. But just for land's sake, it just feels needlessly antagonistic when you could win more the other way.
Each other, and India has the capacity to absorb a lot of China's overcapacity in many ways, and India obviously is in need of China's investment. But that all being said, what they're doing is essentially building up infrastructure, dual-use facilities, and trying to better position themselves, or in the event of a conflict. Despite both sides may not want wars, but miscalculation and misperceptions may eventually be a big problem.
Interesting. Interesting. Very fucking interesting. Very interesting. Interesting. I'm interested. Hey, maybe you guys have more videos? Maybe you guys have more videos that we could watch. Videos? A man drank 3 scoops of horse electrolytes and unthinkable horrors were discovered. They made a video about Doug. Doug unironically been putting a little bit of horse electrolytes in his fucking drink. Not a joke. He opens the fucking tub. He puts it in his water. We've all told him it's crazy. He just is doing it. At least 3 separate times. I mean, he's doing a really small amount, but it can't be good for you. Nuja 2 official trailer 5 days ago, 5 million views. This is that English one. This is a bounty? They don't pay me for bounty. You think Dan Clancy pays me for bounties? You think dirty Dan Clancy is going to fund the anti-Clancyville revolutionary movement? ACRM for short?
You are my son.
Time to cut you down to size!
Huh? He's not exactly your average kid.
Mom!
Holy.
You must be brave and walk your own path.
We will change my destiny!
Holy.
Wait! Before you leave, will you give your mama one last big hug?
Aww.
You know, if this was an American animated movie, we'd end with a fart joke right here, as God intended. So Nuja better rip a loud fart while hugging the mom.
Come on, don't watch it.
Nah. You're not quite caught up culturally, China. You're not quite. You don't quite have that Shrek-like magic. Oh, the East has fallen. That just happened. What happened to the Big A dub? I don't know what happened to it. I actually don't know. There was supposed to be a Big A dub community-made dub. I think it's a really hard project, to be honest. Maybe they weren't able to finish it, which is fine. We got the lines done, but can't find quality video. I see. That's tough. I don't know. That's the dub right there. I'm fucking well aware. Thank you, Pasta Mystic. Thank you. When I heard them speaking in English, I figured it out. I'm talking about the fucking Big A community dub. You should play Civ 6. No, it's not better Age of Empires. It's not real time. Civ 6 is for wasting time. I'll say what the real dub is, okay? The friends we made along the way. You know what I'm saying? That's a community dub. I don't care about a fucking movie. I care about time with my buds. All right? That's a stupid game. All right, give me another video. Let's see. A history of pizza. My hungry ass cannot watch this video. That actually sounds fucking tasty. A history of pizza? Okay, that's the leading right now. Let me keep looking. Maybe. We already watched this. Stalin's trial? How China broke plastic? The dumbest war nobody talks about? The rise of micro dramas? I was going to make this video. Fuck! CNBC scooped me. Stefik told me about these. God, I was going to make this video. Story stolen. This year, I'm going to lock in. That's you, and it's a picture of a clown. Listen, I mean, you're right that most people aren't actually going to lock in, but this feels too mean-spirited. Give somebody a chance, dude. Give them a chance. More fucking cave videos. What is happening in the UK? Asmongold TV? Based. I gotta know his 37-minute take. I gotta know, bro. I made a CRT Game Boy. You made a critical race theory Game Boy? You turned Game Boys woke? God fucking damn it. Gaming used to be my escape. You know what I'm saying? This mistake changed NHL hockey forever. R.I.P. Balloon Chipper. They made the hardest game even harder. I had to beat it in one stream. Why so long of a title, Squeaks? They made the hardest game even harder. ... That's all you need. What is this fucking novel you're writing in the title? Because he doesn't give a fuck? Yeah, that's why he's got the fucking Ludwig copied thumbnail. Because he doesn't give a fuck. Trump's on the brink of a third nuclear age. The kid who hacked the... Let's just watch that pizza thing. Let's watch that pizza video. On God, dude. I want to know about the history of pizza. At least let me see if it's, like, well made.
Pop quiz hotshot. What's the Pope's favorite pizza topping? I actually don't know. But in 1570, it might have been rosewater and sugar. And that's what we're making today. A 16th century Italian pizza served in the papal court, which calls for exactly those ingredients. So thank you to Bright Cellars for sponsoring this video as we slice into the history of pizza. This time on Tasting History.
Okay. Seems like a nice guy.
So this recipe comes from the Opera di Bartolomeo Scappi, which I did an entire episode on, and I'll put a link up here in the corner so you can watch it, or I'll put one in the description as well.
Sorry, one second. Let me make sure that I have the capability to order pizza during this if I get hungry enough. Okay? Let me just make sure I have that capability because I am a hungry boy. And I would hate to miss my chance. Order one random chatter of pizza. Haha, like me maybe, right? Hey, why don't you pick one random chatter? You can start with me. Ha. Wouldn't it be funny if you ordered me a pizza? That'd be good content. Atrioc, I love your content, but man, it would be fucking better if you just ordered me a pizza. Guys, do you think this is a fair price for a pizza? A single pepperoni pizza for... Honestly, that's not bad. Honestly, that's not bad. $18? How big is it? $18. Too bad I can order like 6 slices or something. That's not crazy. LA prices? That's bad? Now, with delivery, it's going to be like fucking 30, I bet. With delivery, I bet it's going to be 30. But 18 for a pizza sounds very reasonable. 18 for a large pep. That's without delivery? That's without delivery. Is that a problem? Okay. All in, $29.70. I called it on the fucking dot. Yeah, $30. It's $30 to deliver. That's not bad. That's not great. But a large pizza? This is like not even, it's better than Domino's. It's not horrendous. LA brain rot? Maybe a little bit, but that's actually better than I expected.
The entire book is filled with recipes that are quintessentially Italian Renaissance, that kind of mixture of sweet and spice that our palate might just be like, what? And this one is no different. Per fare pizza sfogliata ad un altro modo. Another way to prepare flaky pizza. Bring together 3 pounds of fine flour and 2 ounces of yeast starter, 4 ounces of breadcrumb that is soaked in warm water, and enough salt. When the dough is made, let it rest, covered in a warm place to rise, as is done with bread. Then knead it again on the table for a half hour, adding in little by little 2 pounds of fresh butter. Knead until all of the butter has been worked into the dough and it has become soft. Split the dough up into...
I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm such a bad cook. I can't tell if that is even remotely... 2 pounds of butter sounds disgusting. But I don't know, like... all I hear is that restaurants always use tons of butter for everything.
2 or 3 pieces, and with each piece, make the pizza in a torte pan which has fresh butter in it. Bake it in an oven with melted butter on top. Make several holes on top with the tip of a knife so it will not puff up too much. When it is nearly done, sprinkle with sugar and rose water. This pastry should be baked slowly and serve it hot. So does that sound at all like a pizza to you? No, not really. But frankly, the definition of pizza is kind of weird. I mean, look at Chicago-style pizza.
Gross!
It's basically soup.
Gross!
Anyway, for this recipe, what you'll need
man, I've been saying that. Wow. People literally come into my chat and say this is the best form of pizza. That is crazy to me. There's a guy there right there, right below me. He looks at this and goes, yep, that is the peak of pizza. That's crazy, dude. That is crazy. I don't even fathom how that comes to your mind.
Style pizza. It's basically soup. Anyway, for this recipe, what you'll need is 4 cups or 480 grams of bread flour, a 1/4 cup or 60 grams of high yeast biga.
You need big A to make old school pizza? Wait, I kind of just want to see the pizza. I'm not going to cook it, right? So just let me see what the pizza looks like and then maybe taste it.
Stereotypically Italian sounding name ever. Peter's Pizza Place, and that's enough. How great is that? And it is in this shop, later renamed Pizzeria Brandi, where we get pizza's most famous origin story. It's probably, well, it's definitely not completely true. It's probably somewhat true, but here it is. In 1889, Umberto I, king of a recently unified Italy, and his wife, Queen Margherita, decided to branch out from the French...
No way. Margarita pizza comes from her? There was a woman named for pizza? Holy, no way. Do you think she loved to eat pizza so much that's why they named her after it? She was named after the pizza, the other way around. In Italy, they named their leaders after pizza. There's King Deep Dish. There's Triple Meat Baron.
French cuisine of the palace, and headed to Naples, where they commissioned
King
Raffaele
Hawaiian,
Esposito, the then owner of Pizzeria Brandi, to make 3 pizzas. One with lard, one with fish, and one with basil, tomato, and fresh mozzarella.
That's so funny. Hey, let's make one with dog shit, one with cat shit, and one with like tasty toppings. And we'll decide. We could have had a much worse outcome. That's crazy.
Queen Margherita tried the first pizza and said, "This pizza is too fatty." She tried the second pizza and said, "This pizza is too
Goldilocks,
fishy." Finally, she tried the third pizza, the one with mozzarella, tomato, and basil, and she said, "This pizza is just right." And thus was born the Pizza Margherita. It even had the 3 colori, or colors, of the Italian
didn't know
flag.
that at all. That's
green
cool.
basil, white mozzarella, and red tomatoes. Again, probably not entirely true. Well, it's definitely not entirely true, but there might be some truth to it. But Naples says that this is how it happened, and the story is just too good not to accept without question. But even with the Queen on board, pizza still stayed a food of the poor, and thank God it did, because those were the people who brought it to America. In the late 19th and early 20th century, poor Italian immigrants brought pizza to the streets of New York City. Now, pizza was being sold all over the streets of New York, especially in Little Italy, but the first place that is credited with the first pizza, because they went and got a license, that's why, is called Lombardi's on Spring and Mott Street in Little Italy, and that is just 1 block from my first New York apartment. It was so small, great area, but it was so small that my bedroom door could not open all the way because I had a twin bed in there, and that got in the way. So
it is cool that it's still there.
Could you really call it a bedroom if it can't fit a bed? But pizza still really hadn't taken off outside of the Italian-American community. For that, we would have to go to war. When our brave boys returned home from fighting in Italy in WW2, they brought back a love of Italian food. And one of those Italian foods was pizza. It was the perfect food for the new suburban lifestyle. It could be made at home, or it could be made for delivery. And pizza places started popping up in cities all over the country. In 1958, Pizza Hut opened.
Pizza the Hut!
And in 1960, Tom and James Monahan bought the Michigan Pizza...
Hey, I know that I'm older than the average chatter, but is there anyone here who remembers the 90s? Anyone here was a kid in the 90s? Was there any 90s kids? Pizza Hut used to be a real place. We used to be a real country. Pizza, when I was a kid, was a fucking place, dude. It was goated. It was good pizza. They had that salad bar. You would sit down there with the family. You would eat out at Pizza Hut. That was gas, dude. Pizza Hut sucks ass now. But even to this day, after having so many bad Pizza Hut pizzas, I still have a fond memory of it because of how good it was as a child. Referencing the 1900s is crazy. Don't say it like that. Don't say it like the 1900s, bro. It's the... It was not that long ago. It's crazy to say it like that. Watch the Phil Edwards Pizza Hut video. Nah, I'm going to watch this one. But I just remember Pizza Hut was fire, dude. It really was so... Do people still do this? I can't tell if I'm out of touch from making money or if the world has changed. But do people still, like, go out to eat and sit down at like a Domino's or a Pizza Hut? Do families regularly doing that? Because I don't think it happens anymore. For pizza, no. I feel like everyone's doing takeout now or drive-through or do you go to what about like Cece's Pizza or Peter Piper Pizza or that shit, you know, like a family event at a pizza place? Third places, fucking unk millennial talking about third places. Dumb Why doesn't he just scroll TikToks, bro, and sit at home? Is that like TikToks? Shut the fuck up. I don't know. That was just like pizza is the source of many fond childhood memories. You go to a pizza arcade, you would go to a pizza place with your family. It would be like, it's like a low cost way for the family to go out and have dinner.
Dominic's and changed the name to Domino's. This is also when frozen pizza was becoming popular, and I do love a frozen pizza. To this day, I cannot do Halloween. Halloween has to start.
I have to check. Is Peter Piper Pizza still in business? Peter Piper Pizza. Oh, it's still in business. It's cooking. Oh, you guys don't know about it because it's Arizona. It's Arizona, California, New Mexico. I didn't know. I didn't know it was only a Southwest thing. Interesting. Anyway, you know, it's like an arcade, pizza arcade, kind of like Chuck E. Cheese, I guess, but for older audience.
With a Red Baron pizza. I do not know why, but every Halloween I eat myself an entire Red Baron pizza all by myself, just as I did when I was a little kid. I was a chubby kid. I was a big kid. I wore husky pants, but man, I do love a Red Baron pizza. I only do it once a year now, though. What's interesting is that back in Old Italy, pizza still hadn't really gotten out of Naples and a few other places like Sicily. But when American tourists started showing up in Italy and they wanted pizza and Pisa, the other parts of Italy had to step up and start making their own kinds of pizza. And it didn't go great at first. Some of the country was so bad at mimicking Neapolitan pizza that the city of Naples founded AVPN, or the Associazione Verace Pizza Napoletana, which laid the groundwork for what makes pizza pizza. But I think that it was a little too late. The cat was already out of the bag, because here in America, we were making sushi pizza and pizza bagels, and we had really done whatever.
Pizza bagel is one of the greatest inventions of all time and one of America's greatest cultural contributions. So watch your fucking tone, okay? I like the video so far, but if you're going to talk shit on fucking pizza bagels or Totino's pizza rolls, then you've got another thing coming.
We want with pizza. Heck, you could even come over to my house later tonight and have your...
Did you last eat a pizza bagel? I visited my little brother in Arizona. This was within a year. And we watched movies, and he gave me an edible, and we ate pizza bagels. It was awesome. It was awesome. So, that was fucking great.
Yourself a pizza with rose water and sugar, because I'm pretty sure my pizza's about done. So at 1 hour and 15 minutes, open up the oven and quickly brush on the rose water and sprinkle with sugar. Then let it bake for another 15 minutes or until it's baked all the way through. And then your papal pizza is ready to eat. And here we are, Scappi's pizza from the Italian Renaissance. Now this is a real pizza work.
That's not even...
So,
wait, there's no... I thought it had the toppings on the inside. I thought it was like a calzone. That's just a fucking cake. What? Not a fucking pizza, bro. I thought it was a calzone. I was kind of excited. I was like, you know what? It's on the inside. It's kind of like a shepherd's pie.
Amazing. I mean, it smells like fresh... It kind of smells like croissants. I let it cool You need to let it cool before you cut into it because the butter needs so much butter. Here we go. Let's give this a taste.
It's got 2 pounds of butter. It is a cake.
Maybe it overrose, or I'm not sure. It's gonna be fine.
Just eat it.
That's delicious. It's not pizza. I mean, that's fantastic. The rose is so subtle. I didn't just taste some of the top. The rose is so subtle.
Okay, all right. I got enough out of this video. The history was kind of cool. I didn't know about Queen Margarita. I'll never forget that. That's kind of interesting. It has 2 pounds of butter. Of course, it's good. Hey, we did learn something. It followed the rules. We did learn something. It was a bit out of our norm, but we did learn something. What else can we learn? You skipped the whole history part? No, I got the good history part. I got the part that I cared about. Okay, let's scroll way down here and get some of the fresh stuff. Can we teach our moms to spot fake AI videos? That seems kind of funny, actually. That seems kind of funny. For boomers who are getting cooked on social media. Singapore's public housing is getting complicated. I don't like complexity in my geopolitics, okay? I need a good guy and a bad guy so that I can avoid nuance when I get a Reddit post. Canadian PSAs were weird. How this forgotten, creepy puppet show ended communism in Czechoslovakia. We found one of Jeffrey Epstein's black books years before the recent Epstein Files controversy.
This is
from Business Insider, and the first page is open to a highlighted Donald Trump and his address. I'll take a look. I'll take a look. But how could we have known? Do you know what I'm saying? If it actually comes out that Donald Trump and Epstein worked together, or if they were friends and Trump was part of the problem, how could we possibly have known? Do you know what I'm saying? It's been so kept under wraps. It's so secret. There's just no way you could.
Donald Trump's phone number in Jeffrey Epstein's personal little black book from the 1990s. In 2021, Business Insider obtained an address book no one had ever seen before.
Jeffrey Epstein got away with what he got away with because of who.
Doing this little fucking cutesy intro for a book from a pedophile is crazy. It's like a little Pixar intro with the. It's this big. This is about like institutionalized pedophilia. It's just crazy.
Jeffrey Epstein got away with what he got away with because of who was in his address book.
Yeah, this is like a Wes Anderson.
What's interesting for us about
this is like a Wes Anderson intro for
characters who we didn't previously know had interactions with or did business with him.
While the Trump administration says it won't disclose more files on Epstein, the older address book reminds us of Epstein's vast connections to prominent figures, including Melania Trump's best friend, Christopher Cuomo's wife, and an advisor in the first Trump administration.
Our first thought was to just do whatever we could to verify that it was real. We've obtained a copy of an address book that we believe belonged to Jeffrey Epstein, and your name and contact information are listed in the book.
I'm a reporter for Insider. I'm just calling everybody who's in this address book who has not previously been publicly associated with Jeffrey Epstein.
We need to make sure it was a real artifact that really represented something about Jeffrey Epstein and his connections to people.
The story is not one that sounds exactly believable. Someone dropped Jeffrey Epstein's.
It would suck if you were like Jeffrey Epstein's dentist or something. And you get a call like that. If you were just
address book in the 90s and now belongs to some guy
you
who
were
lives
his
on a farm
gardener
in
or whatever.
Vermont.
I'm very careful not to put my fingerprints on the book, not to put any sort of DNA or hair or anything like that. My name is Christopher Halali. Where should I look? I currently
Nice
live
flannel.
on my wife's farm. As a student of national security issues, imperialism, I was fascinated by the Jeffrey Epstein case. There are names that are highlighted, and I think one of the most notable highlighted names is former President Donald Trump.
Former president? When was this made?
My name is Denise Ondeko.
Is this old? When did you link me this? This came out 12 hours ago. This came out 12 hours ago. Why are they saying former President Donald Trump?
Ta-da.
Did you resign today?
And I believe I found the book sometime in the 90s. Walking along Fifth Avenue, and I just noticed a small black book on the sidewalk.
Does he know?
So you're pretty sure that it was somewhere between 54?
Yes, it could have been here.
She found it on the sidewalk? That, I don't fucking... He dropped it? You just found the Jeffrey Epstein's...
Or there.
We have spoken extensively with Denise, and we found her story to be credible.
I saw the book, picked it up, glanced through it. Damn. It was filled with names like Kennedy, Rockefeller, Trump, etc. And it was like, whoa, this is bizarre. So I kept it for the New York City artifact that it was.
Did you know who Jeffrey Epstein was at the time?
No. When I rediscovered the book last year, it was like, holy, it's Jeffrey Epstein.
A Manhattan billionaire arrested yesterday on federal sex trafficking charges.
Accusations from indecent exposure to inappropriate touching to rape.
I went to tips at New York Times. I sent something to Rachel Maddow. I just figured nobody was interested. Come the end of November, I really needed brakes for my car and I didn't have enough money. And I thought, what the hell? You Jeffrey Epstein, you paid for my brakes. So I put it on eBay.
It was right there for everybody.
That's so funny. Put it up on eBay. Dude, opening eBay and looking for the just Epstein list.
To see, most people would think it's a fake or a forgery. I took the risk. When I received the book in the mail, my heart was nearly jumping out of my chest. I felt like Indiana Jones. It's a dark book. It's a book that I think has a lot of suffering behind it, a lot of pain, a lot of evil, some would say. I felt that it was important for people to see who Epstein knew and what sort of network of power was behind him. Right now, I'm packaging the book for forensic analysis.
Okay.
And handing it off to a team of journalists. If it comes back and it's not authentic, it's a pretty awesome forgery, I have to say.
One of the moments in the public waking up to the magnitude of his crimes was the publication in 2015 of an address book belonging to Jeffrey Epstein. And what was stunning about
Is that
it
the book?
It contained the names of Donald Trump and Mick Jagger, Prince Andrew, Bill Clinton. And it sort of woke people up to the fact that this was a guy who had access to the halls of power.
Obama?
Our reporting also found
It's a
about
different book,
220 new names that didn't appear in this other address book.
If someone were to concoct a fake book to trick journalists, they would start by taking those names from the...
I found it on the street. I was following Barack Obama's campaign down the street, and then he just passed by with a devious look in his eye, and then I find this list right on the floor. And in his handwriting, I see the words Donald J. Trump. I don't know. I don't know what to do.
They're a public little black book. I'm putting them in this one. So we start by sort of correlating the names, and then we just started calling people in the book whose names have not been previously associated with Jeffrey Epstein.
Hello?
Hi, I'm trying to reach Elena Kayem.
This is she? Hi, I'm calling for Suzanne Urcha. Would you be able to connect me with her? For who?
I'm trying to reach Joan Severance.
We don't currently represent Joan. The number you dialed is not in service.
I'm trying to reach Michael Cutlip.
This is he? Elena Barmakova.
Who's calling? I'm working on a story about an address book
That we believe belonged to Jeffrey Epstein.
Do you mind if I'm recording this call?
I do mind.
Okay, give me 1 second.
I haven't seen or spoken to Jeffrey since the late 90s.
For them to say, yes, I knew him in the 90s, gives credence to the idea that the book is real.
It's not the case that everybody who was in his address book was an enabler of Jeffrey Epstein. It's more adding to the body of knowledge to keep chipping away at the mystery.
She was not interested in speaking.
These are some of the prominent names we reached out to. None of them had ever been publicly associated with Epstein before.
Suzanne Urcha, Melania Trump's best friend. She later married Woody Johnson, who now owns the New York Jets.
Carl Icahn, special advisor to Donald Trump during his presidency.
Christina Grieven, the wife of Christopher Cuomo.
Jill Harth accused Donald Trump of sexual assault.
Stephen Ratner led Barack Obama's efforts to resuscitate Detroit.
Marty Peretz, longtime mentor to former Vice President Al Gore. Les Gelb was a legendary New York Times columnist. Sandy Warner was the chairman and CEO of JP Morgan until 2000. Billionaire John Katzimatidis, who told us that...
Well, I mean, at the very least, it does seem like the book is authentic, right? There's just too many names with real numbers that they can call. How would a fake have all those? You know what it is? It's... I'm sure many of the people are just New York power people that happen to know Jeffrey Epstein through the circles. I think that's the realistic outcome. I don't think every one of them is part of the island pedophilia thing, but the book seems real.
He offered Epstein a ride, and Epstein sent him a 3-foot bottle of champagne in thanks. And this just goes to show that in the 1990s, he was sort of cultivating a much larger orbit that we can see evidence later on.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
We also engaged the services of a forensic examiner who's familiar with authenticating documents.
I was cautious because I didn't want to cross over into an area that the FBI was investigating. My name is Dennis Ryan, and I'm a forensic document examiner.
Okay.
I'm confident that the book is probably circa 1995 to 2000. One of the factors was the Gestetner imprint that's on the Velo bind. Their organization was certainly out of production by 1998 to 2000. It would be very difficult to make up a book with that imprint. The most important thing is the change in the area code.
So here's Donald Trump's entry in the 1990s address book. You can see that his Palm Beach phone numbers feature a 407 area code. Now, if we look at Trump's entry in the address book from the early 2000s, you can see that he has the same phone numbers listed for Palm Beach, but with a different area code, 561, and that area code was introduced in 1996. Jeffrey Epstein is still such a mystery. Over a year after he's died.
Accused sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein is dead.
Jeffrey Epstein's attorneys questioning whether his death was a suicide.
I think my biggest takeaway is that Epstein had an extremely large sphere of influence, and we're not even sure about the true extent of it.
I think this book elaborates on that in a different era, a different time, and with some different people that we didn't know were a part of that circle that eventually became a part of the reason that Jeffrey Epstein could get away with raping and abusing women and girls. And I think it's important to keep in mind how power is able to avoid accountability. And the more we can remember what Epstein's actions represent, the more we can prevent people from escaping accountability now and in the future.
Okay, just gonna say it. He sounds like a bad dude. Thanks for finally standing up against Jeffrey Epstein. That's actually so big of you. It is a hot take, but it's time to fucking say something. So they did re-release this. Okay. Well, smart of them because the views are crazy. Wow, everyone's got an Epstein story. Dude, it's crazy, all these Epstein stories that are... Forbes asks, how did Jeffrey Epstein get so rich? Forbes just glazes the wealth of Jeffrey Epstein.
Today on Forbes...
It's only 5 minutes long. I'll do a quick check.
How Jeffrey Epstein got so rich. At the time of his death in 2019, Jeffrey Epstein was a fabulously wealthy man. Between his collection of lavish homes, 2 private Caribbean islands, and nearly $380 million in cash and investments, he was worth $578 million, according to his estate. Exactly how he accrued those riches is at the heart of the ongoing scandal. The less interesting possibility is that Epstein's sex crimes were separate from his day job as a financial advisor to billionaires, to whom he offered investment, estate, and tax planning services. In a 2013 corporate filing, Epstein described himself as, quote, an experienced and successful financier and businessman, a, quote, entrepreneur who has built several highly profitable companies, and, quote, one of the pioneers of derivative and option-based investing. The more scandalous scenario, as alleged by many of President Trump's supporters and conspiracy theorists, is that Epstein secretly taped his wealthy friends engaging in sex crimes with trafficked minors in his homes and on his islands, and then blackmailed them, with his financial business serving as cover. The full origins of Epstein's wealth remain shrouded in mystery, but what is clear, according to Forbes' review of court filings, an investigative memo, and financial records, is that Epstein relied above all on 2 billionaire clients and a tax gimmick to build his fortune.
I know one of them's the Victoria's Secret guy. Lex whatever.
His Secret's longtime chief, Les Wexner, and private equity honcho, Leon Black, were Epstein's 2 largest financial clients. Of the more than $800 million in revenue Epstein's 2 key businesses brought in from 1999 to 2018, Epstein collected at least $490 million in fees, with the rest coming from gains on investments. Wexner and Black supplied upwards of 75% of Epstein's fee income throughout that period, according to Forbes' estimates. Those entities, both based in the U.S. Virgin Islands, were Epstein's only, quote, revenue-generating...
So most of his money comes from the Victoria's Secret owner billionaire. Interesting.
Companies from 1999 until his death. This, according to an expert report provided by an accountant in a 2022 case filed by the U.S. Virgin Islands government against J.P. Morgan Chase.
Dude, that's what Victoria's Secret was? Victoria's Secret was the deep ties to Jeffrey Epstein. Really makes you think.
While President Trump and Epstein were friends for many years, there is no evidence that they ever did any business together. They reportedly fell out after competing to buy the same Palm Beach estate in 2004. In that competition, Trump won. Wexner, who is 87 years old and the founder of Apparel Giant Limited, was Epstein's primary client from 1991 until 2007, before the 2 men fell out. Wexner paid Epstein an estimated $200 million over the years. Black, who is 73 years old and the founder of private equity firm Apollo Global Management, paid Epstein $170 million between 2012 and 2017. This according to an independent investigation from law firm Deckert LLP into Black's relationship with Epstein and further research from the Senate Finance Committee. Epstein was able to accumulate his...
Wait, did Epstein not graduate from Harvard? Is this finally going to be the thing that makes people realize he's a bad guy? Was Epstein wearing Harvard merch when he didn't graduate? He never graduated from anywhere. Wow, dude. Wow.
Wealth nearly tax-free, thanks to generous tax breaks in the U.S. Virgin Islands, where he became a resident in 1996
it's adding up,
and set up a financial consulting firm named Financial Trust Company 2 years later. The same year, he spent nearly $8 million to buy Little St. James Island, which has since become known as Pedophile Island for its role in his sex trafficking ring. Court filings show that between that firm and Southern Trust Company, which he set up in 2011 and which took over as his main business the following year, Epstein obtained benefits under the territory's economic development program that saved him $300 million in
Jesus
taxes
Christ.
between 1999 and 2018. Throughout that time, Epstein earned at least $360 million in dividends from his companies. Wexner and Black have both apologized for their associations with Epstein and said they were not aware of his sex crimes. Wexner stepped down as CEO of L Brands in 2020 and said in a letter published that
aptly
year
named.
that he, quote, would not have continued to work with any individual capable of such egregious, sickening behavior had he known. Black said in an earnings call in 2020 that he, quote, deeply regretted his association with Epstein. The Deckert report found, quote, no evidence that Black was involved in any way with Epstein's
Wrote him a
criminal
nice letter,
activities. In 2021,
wonder if he gives him
Black
a
stepped
birthday
down
note.
as Apollo CEO and from his position as chairman of the Museum of Modern Art. The two men were not Epstein's only clients. The full extent of Epstein's wealth and client list is still unknown, though further details may be public soon enough. On July 17th, Senator Ron Wyden revealed that investigators from the Senate Finance Committee had reviewed some of the Treasury Department's files on Epstein last year. They found that there were more than 4,700 transactions with Epstein's accounts at 4 banks: J.P. Morgan Chase, Deutsche Bank, Bank of New York Mellon, and Bank of America, totaling more than $1.9 billion.
But he did it alone. Just to be clear, it was just moving money between his accounts in a circle because it was all him solo dolo. And I feel like this fucking conspiracy theory that anyone else was involved needs to stop, okay? It's implicating some really innocent people, like our president, and I don't think that's fair.
For full coverage, check out Giacomo Tagnini and John Hyatt's piece on Forbes.
He just bought some Bitcoin. I know there was a new CoffeeZilla about it, but is it anything particularly new? I mean, he's hitting the grind of daily Epstein videos, so I have to make sure there's anything particularly new. Not really? All right. I think I'll skip this one, but I do every third one, and then I feel like I get the whole story. All right. Well, then in that case, Get Smarter Saturdays, we need more submissions. Who's got a YouTube video that we're going to learn something from? Reset the list? Release the list of Get Smarter Saturday videos, which is now reset. Dubai chocolate is a $20 lie. Everyone been talking about this Dubai chocolate. I kind of want to know if it's actually this is a good thumbnail. This is a very good thumbnail. It just it's every YouTube thing in one. It makes you want to click this big fucking red arrow. I can hardly avoid it. Why Japanese people don't want things anymore? I don't trust any analysis that says this group of human beings no longer wants things. That doesn't sound... I think they just have less money. The Great Canadian Rat War. I mean, we could check it out. It has a decent number of... Yeah, I can see what he's
Something peculiar is happening in Japan. It's been happening for a while. People there, especially young people, don't seem to want things anymore. They've stopped going for promotions at their jobs, preferring to simply go through the motion at the office. They've stopped pursuing hobbies, preferring simple routines or passive entertainment.
Oh, no.
They prefer renting over buying homes, public transport over buying cars, and they prefer to keep the money they saved as cash instead of investing into assets. Half of all marriages are either sexless or nearly sexless. And I probably don't need to tell you about the fertility rate, which is at an all-time low. In fact, many young adults have stopped looking for love altogether. About 40.
I can tell people here still want something, and it's his fucking jaw, because you guys won't shut up about it. Everybody here just wants his fucking jaw.
35% of them have not had sex for at least 12 months. And of those never married, about half are virgins. The Japanese management consultant, Kenichi Omai, was the first to describe this phenomenon as a low-desire society. In his book of the same name, he calls it, quote, Japan's unique, world unprecedented abnormality. It's as if Japan has given up on the idea of ambition. People are afraid of hope, and have become profoundly risk-averse as a result. As Omai puts it, quote, in Japan, men and women, young and old, all suppress their desires and put money into savings to minimize anxiety, even if only slightly. To explain how Japan come to be this way, I need to tell you a story about the rise and fall of the Japanese economic empire and its aftermath, which lingers to this day. Our story begins at the end of...
I like this guy, and I'm interested. But, high level, if this is too long, my assumption is it starts with Japan's massive real estate bubble in the late 80s, early 90s. Then that pops. Then they get 3 decades of lost decades with really stagnant growth. And during that time, people lose interest in investing and growing for the future because the pie's not growing. And everything is propped up zombie company style by Japan's endless government debt. And now at the end of fucking history, nobody's... I'm just jealous of the jawline, sure.
World War II. Having lost that war, Japan was in ruin. Its cities devastated, its economy shattered, and its people amongst the poorest in the world. So few expected that Japan was about to pull off an economic miracle the like of which the world had never seen. Over the next few decades, the country would embark on a remarkable period of unbelievable economic growth, at a rate averaging about 10% per year. And
both Japan and Germany did this after World War II. It's pretty incredible. The growth of just West Germany alone and Japan in that period is like astronomical.
By its end, Japan had become the world's second largest economy, just behind the US, with many expecting it to soon overtake the US and become the most dominant economy in the world. Japan was anything but a low-desire society back then. It was vibrant and...
I watched this video last night. Yeah, this. This is one of those YouTube counter things for biggest economies by GDP starting in 1600. That's just interesting to watch. But like watch after 45. Dude, watch Japan here. Down, 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 off the charts. Then watch Japan. It's actually closer to the 80s. We gotta get way out here, but past Argentina. Past Canada. India, Italy, China. No, not France. Surely not France. They won the war. Past France and the UK. West Germany and Japan. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. Look at them both. Japan past West Germany. Soviet Union, surely. Surely you're not getting past. Oh my God. '80s, and then this is when it gets into fucking high gear, right here. Boom! Look at this. The late 80s. Rocket ship. Oh my God. Early 90s. And then Plaza Accords. Right around here. Uh-oh. What happened there? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. And this is what they're living through. This is what they're living through. Stagnation. Decades of stagnation. This is the economic consequences of that, of increasing debt, lower growth. It's it's still shrinking. By the way, China. Wait, did we watch China after 2001? Look at China right here in 2001, WTO. Smaller than, I mean, you can go a little bit farther back, right here. China around the turn of the century. This is young Atrioc. Just thinking China, they're not that big. They're going to they fucking go crazy. Boom! Right around 2040. Boom! Holy! Yeah, unreal. What's up, babe? Oh, no.
Oh, what?
I didn't know you were going to cook because I thought you were going out.
Why would you think that?
Well, now I have a pizza and meatballs.
Well, I can eat them then.
No, I want to eat them. They look delicious. They're way better than pizza.
What pizza did you... Oh.
I ordered well, I can't tell you what I ordered, but I ordered pizza because I watched a video on pizza and I got hungry.
Well, that's very stupid.
We have Stan's dog, by the way. This is Sophie. We're watching Sophie because Stans and Rochelle are gone. And she got the cone of shame. Dude, I can't believe Ari was making meatballs. I shouldn't have ordered this $30 pizza. All right, anyway, I want to watch this Japanese video. This guy seems like a Chad.
Ambitious.
I like how
People
he talks.
dreamt big and worked hard. They aimed for the moon and some got there. The streets were packed with brand new cars, stores always crowded with people. The appetite for new experiences seemed endless. Everyone wanted to get ahead, buy homes, start families, and enjoy the good life. It seemed like the good time would never end, but all good things come to an end. And the end for Japan's golden years was near. The decades of rapid growth had become unsustainable, resulting in an asset bubble. For example, despite being 25 times smaller than the US in terms of land mass, Japan's total land value was worth more than that of the entire US, times 4. Tokyo's real estate value in particular had become so astronomical.
Is he going to mention the classic line everyone talks about is that the Imperial Palace was worth more than all of California. The real estate in like 100 square meters around the Imperial Palace is worth more than... It's the classic line about Tokyo's real estate bubble.
High that the Tokyo Imperial Palace, an area of just 3.4 square kilometers, were said to be worth more than all the real estate in California combined. The signs of an economic...
Hand of God, not pre-watched. This is the power of reading. I just want you guys to know that when you read, the world unlocks for you. You just read things. Everyone's pulling from the same sources, bro. Just read a couple of books and all of a sudden, you're going to feel like this all the time.
Economic bubble were there, and, at least in hindsight, obvious. For example, people were buying things just to buy them, regardless of how random or useless they might seem, like golf club memberships that cost as much as $3 million. At one point, Japanese corporations seemed to have literally run out of things to buy in Japan and started buying things in foreign markets too. They bought the Rockefeller Center in New York for $1.4 billion, Columbia Pictures for $3.4 billion, and Universal Pictures for $6.6 billion.
They bought all the American movie studios.
There were concerns at the time that Japan was buying up too many foreign assets. Some worried that Japan might one day buy up the entire US or the whole world. Perhaps Japanese investors had become accustomed to seeing prices going up that they stopped worrying about how much they cost today, expecting to always be able to sell it for more in the future. That was until that future came crashing down. In 1989, the Bank of Japan decided to raise interest rates sharply.
There's no other country, right, who's experiencing huge debts with asset prices that constantly go up and everyone thinks they'll always go up in the future. There's nobody else that can learn a lesson from this. Japan is I guess what you're saying is Japan was stupid and no one else has made this mistake.
Hoping it would keep the rampant asset speculation and inflation under control. It worked. Or rather, it worked too well. The asset bubble burst, causing a downward economic spiral. The crash started with the stock market in 1990, and the real estate market soon followed in 1991. Asset prices, which people assumed would keep rising, began to fall and kept falling. The stock market would go on to lose 80% of its value in the following decade, and the real estate market 70%. Businesses and banks who had overextended themselves to acquire these assets were left holding nothing but massive amounts of debt, and bankruptcies and layoffs soon followed. People who were rich on paper watched as their wealth turned to ashes before their eyes. What followed wasn't just a quick recession, but a long, drawn-out economic stagnation that would come to be known as Japan's lost decades. It's called the lost decades because nothing really happened economically during those decades.
Nintendo.
The GDP more or less stopped growing, with stagnating wages and deflating prices. The effects of this economic malaise remained to this day. Tokyo's real estate market never recovered to the height of its heyday, and the Japanese stock market only went back to its pre-crash value last year. To say that people learned their lessons...
Dude, think about that. It only got back to if you bought at the highs, you didn't get it back till fucking 30 years.
only went back to its pre-crash value last year. To say that people learned their lessons is an understatement. Perhaps they learned it too well. People didn't just grow cautious, they became pessimistic. Not only are they preparing for the worst, they expect the worst too. Ambition always ends in frustration seemed to have been the lesson many internalized. So instead of chasing big goals, they now gravitate towards stability, steady income, simple routines, and cash on hand. Those who grew up during this era of quiet resignation, who are the young people working and living in Japan now, will come to comprise the bulk of the low desire society.
Dude, don't you kind of see this in America now in some way? And we're not even in the bubble burst. I feel like with younger people, you see more people that are like, yeah, I just want the simple things. I just want, I'll be happy with just a good commute and a job that I don't hate and whatever. Like, I feel like you hear about it more and more. Yeah, I get my gaming PC and my cat, and I'm happy, and I don't need, I definitely feel like that. Then, counterpoint, I don't think that's a bad attitude to have. Maybe society-wide, there's problems. I think specifically when it crosses into the inability to get relationships or a family. I think that's the problem. And I think housing being so expensive makes that mindset impossible because you have to. But I think it's nuanced because there is some beauty in not having. I think one of the coolest things you can do is not be on the hedonic treadmill where any money you make immediately goes into being spent so you can get something new, so you can move up. Being happy with what you have is awesome because then you can actually get stability. Anyway, I like this guy's presentation style.
These people never.
This is the most non-YouTube video we've watched in a while. This guy's just talking. He's got videos that help explain his point, but it's not. I don't feel like he's constantly trying to trick my brain into watching more, which makes me like it more. He's just speaking clearly, and it's a little slow paced. I understand if your brain is completely rotted out of your skull, but it's not boring. It's interesting stuff, and I appreciate his authenticity.
Very experienced the bullet train pace of rising living standards their parents did. Instead, they've grown accustomed to stagnation,
nice jaw.
Where the absence of progress is the norm. They know about the massive layoffs and bankruptcies from giant corporations that once looked too big to fail. and understood job security to be illusory. Wages stay the same anyway, so why work that hard? Prices remain low anyway, so why buy assets? Fortunately, low prices also mean that things are cheap. Rent is low enough, and the Japanese public transport works.
He's going to talk about it. This is the problem. This is what all my videos about Japan are about, which is like, this stagnation system sucks, but it works as long as prices of things stay low. As long as you don't have inflation. Once you get inflation, the whole thing breaks and people go from being, I don't care, to angry. So it's funny because I think they're actually past this I don't want things phase. I think they're in the angry phase. They're in like the I can no longer afford shit, and now we're...
Food is affordable. Well, except rice. That's a long story for a different day, but for the most part, the cost of living is conveniently affordable in the never-ending array of 100 yen shops and convenience stores. This allows people to get by with even a modest income. So before long, people start thinking, let's just keep our heads down and we'll survive. Don't try anything bold. Live below our means and save what we can. Walk carefully through life so that we may arrive safely at death. Now I'm noticing that this might start to sound a bit depressing. It would seem that there is something wrong with the low desire society, that it's a problem that needs to be fixed. But is it a problem, really? And if it is a problem, whose problem is it? Now, first of all, from the perspective of the economy, low desire society is indeed a problem. In fact, the book Omaya wrote about low desire society is largely a book about the Japanese economy. Low desire society is an economic problem because desire lies at the root of any economic systems. Everything that happens in an economy, from the money invested to the employees hired, to the products built in factories and sold in stores, everything happens for the purpose of fulfilling people's desires. So if people stop having desires, the entire economic machinery will grind to a halt. After all, why have an economy at all if no one wants anything anymore? As such, to be a low desire society is to have an underperforming economy. And the data reflects this. Japan's real GDP per capita has been growing at an average rate of 0.7% per year since the crash of the 1990s, a fraction of what it was before the crash and one of the lowest amongst all G7 nations. As such, low desire society has been a thorny problem for Japanese politicians and policymakers who were elected to manage the economy and re-elected based on how well they did. They've been struggling to fix this for decades, and I don't blame them. They have on their hands an economy notorious for being uniquely difficult to manage. The Nobel Prize-winning economist Simon Kuznets once said that there are...
Is this 4 type of countries? Argentina, Japan, and everyone else? Fuck, I could have called this one too. I could have called this before the fucking first line came up, dude.
4 types of countries: developed, underdeveloped, Japan, and Argentina. In other words, Japan's economy is so strange that Kuznets thinks it should be its own category. One of the reasons for this is, again, that people don't want things. And as a result, economic interventions that work everywhere else just don't seem to work in Japan. You see, most ways to boost GDP involve injecting money into an economy in one way or another to stimulate its activities. That works because when you give money to people, they spend it or invest it, as one does with one's money. That in turn boosts economic activities and some inflation. But when you give money to...
I feel like Uma Musume must have saved Japan's economy though, right? All the money that you fucks are spending on those horses has got to be flowing into their coffers and turning this whole thing around.
To Japanese people, they don't buy anything because they don't want anything. They don't invest it either because they are risk averse. So they mostly end up saving it as cash. In other words, when you inject money into the Japanese economy, it just disappears, like the darkness at dawn.
Like the darkness at dawn.
Okay, so low desire society is a problem for the economy and a pain in the ass for the politicians. But let's take a break from the abstraction of economy and politics for a moment. Let's get real for a bit.
Let's get
and
real.
Talk about people. By people, I mean those real individuals who live and work in Japan today. Modern economic and political systems are, at least on paper, meant to serve the people, after all.
Yeah.
So how does this low desire phenomenon impact the people? Is it a problem for them? That is, from their personal perspectives, is it really a problem to have low desires? Well, there the question becomes more nuanced, because it's not obvious why it's a problem for someone to have low desire. Do people have to have a lot of desires? Is it bad if someone happens to not want anything?
What an interesting question.
Look, if I truly don't...
I want to think about it before he answers. I just want to think. It's a very interesting question. There's something zen about minimizing your desires. I think as a broader society, it feels like you go into stagnation and death if everybody stops wanting more or to improve what they have. Like the idea that the people in Japan don't want a Ford F-150 is disgusting to me. But I feel like I want to separate it from I think it's a reverse problem. It's not like they suddenly don't want the things, they can't afford them. They can't, like if they could afford them, their desire would instantly change. You know? It's like it only exists because they can't have it. So your philosophy comes afterwards.
want anything. And I'm just sitting here, chilling upon this chair, in a state of perfect comfort and contentment within my own skin. I can't see how anyone can convince me that I have a problem. Quite the contrary, what I have looks like the complete absence of problems. In fact, it seems that I would only start to have problems when I begin to want things I don't have, where the unfulfilled desires begin to induce suffering. So am I saying that having low desire is not a problem, rather it is having desire that is the problem?
This is Buddhism, yeah.
Well, I'm not sure I'm the one saying that, but Buddha might have said something like that a few thousand years ago. My friends, we have stumbled upon an age-old paradox in many schools of spiritual and philosophical discourse.
Honestly, I just think me and this guy are fucking on this. I like this guy. I straight up like this guy. I feel like me and this guy reads the same shit. I would hang out. Me and this guy would have a fucking nerdy ass conversation over beers. It would be awesome. Just two bad bitches agreeing with each other. Bro, reach out. Let's hang out. Asian Atrioc?
The question of how to live a fulfilling life. Because there seems to be two contradictory ways to do it. You can either get what you want, or you can want what you have. To put it another way, you can either fulfill your desires, or you can lower your desires. And in many ancient teachings, having low desire is not only not a bad thing, but often viewed as a virtue. There is the famous story of Socrates, for instance. He went window shopping in the Athenian marketplace one day and looked at all the beautiful items on display that people could buy and said, "Wow, isn't it great? Look at all this shit that I don't want." Or the more academic translation, "How many things I can do without." Now, I don't think that ancient wisdom says that having desires is always bad, but it does point out this tension between getting what we want and wanting what we already have as seemingly contradictory strategies in living a good life. One of my favorite stories that illustrates this tension is the one between Alexander the Great and Diogenes the Cynic. Alexander the Great is, of course, one of the champions of having a lot of desires and getting them fulfilled. He's won wars and conquered kingdoms and gone down in history as one of its most famous high achievers. Diogenes, on the other hand, was a minimalist philosopher who lived in absolute austerity. He was basically homeless and slept in a barrel. It was said that he once had a cup that he used to drink water. Then he saw a child drinking water with his hand, so he realized that even the cup was unnecessary and got rid of the cup. So the meeting between these two characters was bound to be interesting. When Alexander went to see Diogenes, Diogenes was lying on the ground, bathing in the sun. Alexander stood in front of him and said, "Bro, I am Alexander, king of Macedon. Wise Diogenes, name your desire. If it's within my power, I'd be happy to grant it to you." Diogenes looked up and replied, "Dude, that's great. In that case, could you stand a bit to the side because you're blocking my sun?" Now the question is, who is better?
Yeah, we watched the
Is
video
it better
with
to be Alexander, who had big goals and through the disciplined application of his efforts and intelligence achieved them? Or is it better to be Diogenes, who simply skipped all that and was happy and content exactly as he was. Now, to be fair, Alexander and Diogenes.
Is it better to be Alexander the Great or Diogenes, the guy who slept in dog piss? Maybe. I don't know.
Do seem to represent the two extremes of a spectrum. One is a massive overachiever, and the other is a complete non-achiever. So maybe the answer to our question lies somewhere in the middle, a healthy medium where one does have some desires and work hard, but also have some semblance of work-life balance. Now, that answer sounds sort of right, but it's not my favorite answer. For one, it doesn't fully answer the question. If there's a healthy medium, where is that medium exactly? In other words, how much desire is...
I get what your point, but also, like, we don't need to figure out the exact medium to know that Japan, which is in a birth crisis and is going to, like, disappear in 2 generations, economic stagnation that is leading to reduced quality of life every year. People are poorer than their parents. You know, like, clearly this isn't it.
Is the optimal amount of desire to have? The answer is not very specific in this regard, so it's a little lazy, I think. And secondly, it implies that amount is the key to our question. But is amount really the center of the bullseye here? Now, there's another answer that I prefer, and that answer lies in the ending of our story between Alexander and Diogenes. Apparently, the conversation with Diogenes blew Alexander's mind. So, as he was leaving, he was in a pensive mood. While his men were making fun of Diogenes and telling Alexander that he shouldn't take Diogenes seriously, Alexander said, "If I weren't Alexander, I would like to be Diogenes." Some people interpret this as Alexander being envious of Diogenes, but I think it's deeper than that. If you look at what Alexander actually said, he didn't say, "Bruh, I wish I could be Diogenes." He said, "If I weren't Alexander, I'd like to be Diogenes." In other words, it implies a lack of choice to some degree, in that Alexander couldn't be Diogenes even if he wanted to, because he was, in fact, Alexander. It points to an interesting fact of life, that in the end, we're all condemned to be ourselves.
Ooh.
We can resist that fact all we want. We might not like ourselves. We can refuse to accept ourselves. We can disown or hate ourselves. We can even put on masks and pretend to be someone else. But deep down, we are who we are. We can't run away from ourselves no matter how hard we try. Now, I'm not saying that people can't change, but I am saying that, for better or worse, each of us have our own uniqueness, our capacity to change included. For example, Alexander...
This is very different. This is very different than the start of this video. I was like, this is not about the economic state of Japan. I don't think...
couldn't be Diogenes because he was Alexander. He was someone who naturally had a lot of
I got
desires
tricked into a
and
philosophy
was
video.
drawn to take actions towards them. However, he could, at any moment, choose to suppress his ambition, give up the throne, and sleep in the barrel next to Diogenes. I don't know if that would have made him happier, but he did have the freedom to choose that life for himself. Now, we all know that in reality, Alexander chose to pursue his desires instead, and the rest was history. That was the decision Alexander made, with him being who he was. And each person will need to make that decision for themselves, based on who they are and what they authentically desire. So the key to our question isn't amount. There isn't an optimal amount of desire a person should have. Rather, it is authenticity. Namely, what is your authentic desire, given who you truly...
I think this guy wanted to talk about this, and he packaged it in Japan economics so he could get people like me to watch. I think he opened with... Because this is not even this is not related, really. It's not. They're not making this choice on a philosophical level. It worked.
Who they are, and what will you decide to do about it? Now, that's easy to say, but very difficult to do. In fact, it's 3 separate, very difficult things: the awareness to know ourselves, the wisdom to decide what to do about it, and the courage to take action on that decision. To illustrate how easily one can fail at all 3 of these things, here's an example from my life. After graduating college, I worked for 2 years as a corporate consultant. I was pretty miserable through most of it. probably because I hated the job, but for a long time I thought I loved that job because everyone around me loved that job, and they loved me having that job. My Chinese parents became happy for the first time in their lives, and I was constantly receiving LinkedIn messages from university students asking me to show them how they could get that job too. And my colleagues, oh my goodness, they were so enthusiastic and passionate about getting into good projects and networking and going for promotions and everything else that came with a consulting career. So I was taken in by all that. I thought I was lucky to get that job and should work hard and progress in that career. In other words, my desire for a consulting career was not my...
I mean, I do relate. I remember, I've told this story, but like, this is like 3 or 4 years into my time at Twitch. I've told this, I remember distinctly being on the bus to go to work and looking out the window and realizing, like, this is my job that I dreamed of my whole life, and I am not happy. I had that exact thing. I'm like, I'm not happy. I'm not enjoying this. And like, I'm dreading it, and and I remember having that distinct feeling. And it led to me leaving Twitch. I went to NVIDIA because I was like, but I think that was more to do less with, people would be like, that's any job. I think it was specifically with how horribly Twitch was managed. It was a company where you really felt like you had no opportunity to do good work. You had to just play a game with somebody's favor.
Authentic desire. It was not my desire, really. Rather, it was conditioned into me by my social environment. And the closer I got towards this fake desire, the further away I drifted from my authentic desires. Stephen Pressfield calls this the shadow career, where you work in a career that you don't care about to avoid working on what you do care about. Now, it took me a long time and a great deal of needless misery to see that. It took me even longer to come to the decision to quit my job, and longer still to work up the courage to actually do it. All this is to say that given how malleable we are to our social programming, we're quite capable of being very confused about what we genuinely want, let alone knowing what to do about it and actually doing something about it. Now, what this means about the low desire society phenomenon is that whether it is a problem for an individual comes down to whether their low desire is authentic. For example, there are people who have low desire because that's who they genuinely are. They are like Diogenes, who have seen through the social programming that tries to keep them tied down to the culture of endless consumerism and decided not to be a part of it. They refuse to keep up with the Joneses and are genuinely content in the absence of incessant wants and needs. To these people, having low desire is not a problem. In fact, we have much to learn from them. All power to them, as far as I'm concerned, and politicians should stop bothering these people with their economic interventions, because asking these people to have more desire in order to boost the economy would be futile and annoying. But there's another category of low desire individuals.
I just agree with it. I just don't agree, actually. I think the whole thing's backwards. I don't think Japanese people fundamentally changed their DNA between the 80s and the 2000s. They didn't suddenly become different human beings that are more widespread, hardcore Buddhists against desire. That certain human beings, I'm sure, have less desires and they're more happy outside of the system. But that's, as a society-wide thing, it's only in response to choices made by the government and central banks.
These people do have desires, but they're not working towards them. Not out of a proactive, conscious choice, but because of some variation of passivity, like fear of failure, low self-esteem, addiction to comfort, lack of support, etc. Whatever the reason may be, their refusal to pursue their dreams is eating them up from the inside. And the world, which could otherwise benefit from their gifts, is made worse by their resistance to it. To these people, having low desire is indeed a problem. Insofar as politicians might want to do something productive, these are the people they should try to help. But politics aside, this is first and foremost a personal problem, because ultimately, only we can be the one to put our own feet in front of one another towards our own unique journeys. People may
Yeah, I disagree. I don't think it's first and foremost a personal problem. That's a good way to look at it from a personal standpoint, I guess, but that's not.
help us along the way, but they can never do it for us, especially not the government. So I hope that those who are shunning their dreams find the courage to take their first step and keep walking. And I hope we too find the inspiration in their story to do the same in our own lives. I heard that there are only 2 mistakes along this journey: not starting and not finishing. Thank you.
Still, I liked it a lot. I still liked it a lot. The rise of homeless streamers in China.
These people.
I still liked it a lot. Cool YouTuber. And he's probably got a 10-part series on mewing if you want to get a jawline like his. He's only got 39K subs, and I did like the video. I'm going to hit a sub button here. Pew! Subscribed. So you can see. Damn, he's got so many. He seems a little burnt out, dude. My life is meaningless, and that's okay. What's the channel? It's called Louis Zhao. You can see it right here. Check him out. He clickbaited me, but it was good. It was interesting. I don't know. I can't always hear a person talk authentically. Hathor broke the deadlift world record? Dude, I didn't know he still competed after I beat his ass during Bros vs. Pros.
Hi guys, and welcome back to Lifting Vault, and today I want to talk about Hafthor Björnsson, because today was the day that he was supposed to go for a deadlift world record, and I already showed you his opener of 430 kilograms, and after that he went for 470, which also went smooth, and of course...
This is the weakest Atrioc chatter. This is... Any one of you could do this easily. Like light work. It's crazy to think he thinks this is impressive. That's your warm-up. Yeah, I know. Believe me, I know. Believe me, I know. All right. Hotels are abandoning minibars? Good.
We've all been there.
That sounds kind of interesting, actually. Hotels are abandoning minibars, but let me get a slice of pizza. I already ate the meatballs, but my fat ass can eat some pizza, dude. I'm hungry. Pizza. I'm not putting Coke on the pizza. Is pizza code for that good pee? Use a fucking plate. I have a napkin. Pepperoni? Is there a problem? Why are you guys judging me for getting a pepperoni slice of pizza? It's good. One slice for $30? No, it's a large piece. Actually too big. It's actually too big. And it is quite greasy, but what are you going to do? It's not low desire pizza. I have high desire. That's why I got this pizza. If anything, I'm keeping the economy going because my insatiable desire for pizza just put $30 into the world for... Was it authentic desire? I don't know what Buddha would say.
countless hours of traveling, arriving at a hotel at odd
Let's see what
hours,
this is.
tired, hungry, and tempted by the ultimate convenience the hotel has to offer.
Have any of you guys ever cracked for the minibar? Have you ever cracked? Because you know it's fucking expensive. Once, we'll push you over the edge. Never? You've never cracked? We aren't in the 1%, bro. I mean, my time I cracked was before I had any money. Like the time I remember cracking the most, when the bill was very frustrating, was when Stans and I and a few other gaming nerds from ASU who had no cash, we road tripped to Vegas for IPL 5. There's a big esports tournament, and we got drunk. And I remember I cracked, and I had it was like a Pringles can, and I had some drinks from the minibar, and I had the whole thing. And then the bill was so fucking big, and it was like $40. And I was so mad, and I felt like an idiot, and I actually needed that money, so it was like, yeah, it was bad. That's the memory I have of cracking. I'm sure I've done it since then, because I've had money, or I was on a corporate hotel, but that was the one that I remember. I went on a trip with friends, and my friend yoinked a water bottle from her hotel mini fridge without telling us, and we got so mad. That's such a fucked up thing to do. People do that. Do. Like, they go to someone else's hotel room and they grab the mini fridge drinks, thinking like, whatever. But it's like, what you're doing is you're stealing money from your friend, like a lot.
Offer the mini.
It's a Clancy move. Dan Clancy used to do this actually. Like, if you invite Dan Clancy over to your hotel room, he'll crack open the Red Bull in the mini bar. He's like, this is for everybody, right? It's a classic Dan Clancy.
But a can of soda, a bag of stale chips, and a candy bar at 3 a.m. adds up. In fact, it costs about 80% to 400% more than what you paid for at the store.
You wanted it, and then you see the bill 2 days later.
When initially the minibar was put in rooms, it was a novelty. And then it sort of devolved into an annoyance. And minibars got the sort of the comedic punchline of being undersized and overpriced.
But the sentiment around minibars wasn't always negative. In its heyday, minibars were often paired with the feeling of luxury and the allure of traveling. But the convenience factor wore off, becoming a hassle for guests and an even bigger hassle for hotels.
Traditional minibar operation would never be profitable. They would always lose money. It is seen to be one of the worst operations at the hotel level.
Operational costs climbed, theft was rampant, food spoiled, and guest preferences shifted. CNBC looked at why the once essential...
Wait, I'm sorry. Why the fuck is it not profitable to sell fucking a can of stale Pringles for $15? And how do you steal from it without getting charged? Oh, maybe they spoil? I see what you're saying. That's so crazy, but yeah, I guess. If enough food spoils because nobody does it. That's wild,
became obsolete.
Stocking it? I'm just surprised. That markup seems like it's impossible
The minibar
to
didn't go global until 1974, when a Hilton hotel in Hong Kong started stocking its in-room fridges with tiny liquor bottles, inspired by airlines.
Then comes cocktail time, offered with the compliments of your host airline.
Drink sales soared 500% that year, boosting Hilton's overall revenue by 5%. The concept quickly spread worldwide. Soon, minibars expanded beyond alcohol, adding sodas, snacks, and candy. Hilton even standardized offerings so guests could expect the same selections no matter where they stayed.
Guests that travel want to see items that they would find in their own fridge at home. That's why when you have Coke items or M&Ms would always be a bit more profitable.
In the early days, operations were simple. Guests or hotel staff would make note of what the guests had taken. As hotels began to fill each room with minibars, the amenity became a burden. By the early aughts, some chains began phasing out the minibar altogether, citing rising operational costs and declining usage as primary drivers. But besides the financial losses, the logistical nightmare of constantly checking and restocking proved to be a strain on hotels.
The one factor that led to the demise of the fully stocked minibar, and that's rising labor cost and the cost of replenishing.
I heard you could take a minibar vodka, drink it, and fill it with water and put it back in, and they wouldn't charge you. I've never done this, But like, does that actually work, or they got around that? It's sealed. They have fridges now that can track that. They charge you for moving it off the thing. Oh, interesting. Interesting.
These in addition to cleaning the rooms.
One minibar attendant can visit about 100 rooms per day. You would have 4 people.
That was another issue.
Dude, I swear to Christ above. I swear to Christ above upon all the holy Lord's light. This is a weird day. This is a weird day. I don't know what's going on. I promise you, I played too much Age of Empires to pre-watch these videos and then watch them live. It is not valuable to me to do that. That's crazy, though. That's crazy timing. That's actually fucking crazy.
Since not
I
every
think
guest-
I have YouTube brain around this stuff. I could just predict what the next fucking thing that I would include if I was making a video.
consume from the minibar, it could take days before a guest or hotel staff discovered that the content of the bottles wasn't actually vodka or whiskey, but instead water or tea. Guests would dispute all charges, contributing to a time-consuming and costly headache.
Oh
For
yeah, you
years,
just dispute it.
One of Marriott's largest locations in Times Square had 8 full-time staffers working its 150 minibars, but by 2004, that location removed all of them.
Yeah, and then next, all my chat members won the lottery. And CNBC reported on it in this video. And they all made huge stacks.
The proliferation of smart minibars was an effort to improve efficiency.
Nowadays, it's much easier. Everything is online, and you would know where to go to visit those rooms to refill those items, instead of going to visit every single room in the hotel.
Bartek is one of the leaders in smart minibars. The company works with 1,400 hotels worldwide. Majority of them
minibars.
are luxury and high-end properties. Only about 1 in 3 guests use a minibar if available to them.
That's way
The
higher
average
than I
daily
thought.
Transaction is $12.
That's way
So
higher
for a
than I
hotel with
thought.
100
1 in
rooms,
3?
Roughly 33 of them generate about $400 in revenue on a daily basis. Despite their
I thought it'd be like
modest
1 in
usage,
30.
automated minibars pay themselves in 9 to 18 months and typically last up to a decade. Today, manually operated minibars are pretty much obsolete. Agario believes they're underused in mid-scale hotels because the value customer can't justify spending at the minibar.
The average daily rate is the most important factor. For example, if the room rate was $75 per night, it's unlikely you would purchase a $5 Coke.
Between 2007 and 2012, minibar revenues at hotels dropped by 28%, while hotel lounge bars...
All right, wait, let's skip out of that. I think we get the theme here. This brings into... people are talking about how Vegas is dead right now. Have you seen this? Vegas...
Things have changed dramatically in recent years. Las Vegas is definitely not what it used to be, and you just might be surprised at how bad the situation has gotten. After years of record visitor numbers and casino profits, tourism is finally falling. Now you might be thinking, but Jacob, haven't you been promoting Las Vegas for over a decade? Don't you want people to come here and visit? Absolutely. And
dude, I've lost so much money.
Decade? Don't you?
Right here. This area at the Earl of Sandwich, bro. I've lost so much money in this very casino room, and then I go to that Earl of Sandwich. This is such a familiar screenshot for me. Damn.
Want people to come here and visit? Absolutely. And in that time, I have developed a reputation for telling people about both the good and the bad about the place that I love. We're gonna dive into this disaster that has hit Las Vegas, but don't worry, because I'm also gonna show you how you can benefit from this mess.
Hate Umamusume and play slots. I don't play slots, bro. It's like right next to the craps table. I've played craps and lost money, and then I go to the Earl of Sandwich and I get a big sandwich to feel better.
One of the Las Vegas Strip's most beloved cheap food spots closed forever in 2024. For years, this...
Dude, do you think Vegas is going to adapt to Gen Z consumers by adding like gotcha games. Like you show up at the fucking Bellagio and you can bet on horse girls. They had Waifu Vegas. Dude, can you imagine a whole casino themed around anime waifus? They might print cash. Wait, that's actually a genius idea. I'm not even kidding. I could just get investment seed fund. Make a waifu casino, probably print money, dude. Casino waifu? You would have a little digital, you have an app on your phone. It would track your rewards card or whatever, so you could get better unlocked waifus as you play. And then you make the mirrors in the room screens and digital, and so the waifu wishes you good night when you go to bed in the hotel room. It's like an IRL gotcha game. Holy fucking shit, dude.
Place represented everything that made Las Vegas affordable to people who cannot afford five-star dining at every single meal. Ocean One Bar and Grill was the kind of restaurant where families could eat here without breaking their vacation budget, and locals would recommend it to tourists looking for a cheap place to eat. They were well known for having every item on their lunch menu cost just $4.99, and you could get 3 cocktails for $10. The writing was on the wall when the prices started to climb in the months leading up to the closure. You could see that they wanted to keep their prices as low as possible, but they're struggling to survive in an atmosphere where pretty much everything costs more. This wasn't just the loss of one restaurant, it was the death of the cheapest good food that you could find at the center of the Las Vegas Strip. Now that a reliable, budget-friendly option is gone, it's just another sign that the Strip is pricing out the average visitor who made Vegas what it is. Something that started as just a small fee for hotel amenities has probably...
Dude, it's just wild that people could watch this and then be like, yeah, but the economy's great. I saw the headline number. Like, everything's good. We've never been better. It's never been stronger. It's just, I don't understand people... I don't understand people that still believe that at all. There's no, I can understand if a few anecdotes were different than what, but all of them are. There's no like,
become the most hated aspect of visiting Las Vegas today. I remember doing a video back in 2018 on an article about how a $25 room in Las Vegas becomes a $65 room once you add in all of the taxes and fees. And at that time, $45 a night was the highest resort fee that you would find anywhere here on the Las.
You might talk about this, but they have, that's another pre-watch. Maybe I'll talk about it. They had these early check-in fees. Like if you show up to your hotel room in fucking like the Venetian or whatever, it would be like $30 to check in early. Literally the next thing he says, nah, no way.
Vegas Strip. So, in the future, who knows where resort fees will go, where they're headed. I think as long as the economy's doing well, these places will continue to charge. If they can if they can increase and people are going to pay it, they're going to charge it. They're going to be doing that to make as much money as they can. Well, fast forward to today, baby, and you know what we have right now on the Strip? We have over 30 individual hotels who charge $50 to $55 for the resort fee per night. So now it's more like...
The idea of a resort fee is so fucking stupid. I'm paying for a room in your hotel. You don't get to add a hotel fee on top. Just charge me the number you're going to charge me. The idea of splitting the bill into two different things and calling one of them a fee is so fucking stupid. It's like I buy a pizza. Well, the pizza's only $1, but there's a $19 pizza fee. Shut the fuck up. God, Lena Khan was going to fix this. This is such a stupid fucking... trick. It's just a trick. It's just a mental trick to try and scam a little bit from people that have to think about one thing and then get baited in. It just takes advantage of the human once you've committed to something, you're more likely to pay more down the road. Once your mind has considered buying something, well, now you're more amenable to paying a higher fee. But you wouldn't have been if it had been the original fee up front. It's just abusing people. It's just abusing a mental trick of, yeah, it's anchoring. And it's fucked up. It's stupid.
$99 room turns into a $175 room. Because remember, you pay the $99 room price plus the 13.38% room tax on top of that price, plus you pay the $55 resort fee, plus you pay another 13.38% room tax on top of the resort fee. Why you're paying tax on top of a fee, ask Uncle Sam. And to add insult to injury, some of the things that these hotels list that are included with your resort fee are laughable. Things like free local and domestic phone calls, free boarding pass printing, and access to the pool, but seasonal. So if you come during the winter time and the hotel pool is closed, you do not get a cheaper resort fee because it's closed. And the psychological impact of this for travelers really goes beyond money. It's about trust being broken before you even arrive, because your expenses have just exploded beyond what you budgeted for your vacation. And remember, guys, no matter how much
it's so crazy because like the casinos in your hotel, these people are gonna come and punt money on guaranteed losing games. And you can't even do the courtesy of letting them play the game before you scam them. You can't even offer them a good room at a fair price so they can fucking give you money on games they will statistically lose over time. You have to steal the money first on extra fees. It's crazy.
Resort fees are, this is Las Vegas and we are in the desert. So there's a pretty good chance that no matter what, you're gonna wind up seeing roaches out here at some point. I don't think resort fees can get rid of that. For years, Vegas restaurants have added an extra 4 to 5% fee onto your food bill that most people don't even notice. And a big reason people don't notice is because the way it's displayed sometimes is kind of sneaky. So if you're gonna eat here at the center strip at a place like Alexa's, they have the menu here posted outside, you can see, but the glass is obviously a little dirty, but you gotta look down here at an angle to see where it says concession fee of 4.9% added to all checks. So if you look through the dirt and at an angle at the tiny print at the bottom, you can find it before you actually go inside and order your food. The good news about this—
good, because I was baited in by the $26 fucking pizza.
At the bottom, you can find it before you actually go inside and order your food. The good news about this, though, is every person I've ever heard that has asked a restaurant to remove the CNF fee has had it removed because it adds zero extra value to your meal.
Yeah, I just got a $30 pizza, but I had it delivered. Okay, so it's different. It's different. I got a $30 pizza that was delivered to my door, all right? Are they bringing that to my door, or do I have to go to them? And they have a fee.
So it's hard for them to actually justify keeping it on your bill.
These charges have become so common that experienced Vegas visitors now scan every receipt like they're investigating a crime scene. What makes this particularly annoying is how these fees are presented as legitimate business costs when they're really just profit boosters designed to inflate your bill. The practice is spread throughout the industry because most customers either don't notice the extra charges or don't have the energy to complain about them. You're already tired from walking around Vegas all day, and the last thing you want is a confrontation with restaurant staff over mysterious fees. Some people just—
It's fucked up. I literally think one of the best things, a simple fucking thing that the FTC could do, or the government, or the DOJ, whatever, is just a mandatory pricing authenticity. I don't know what the word is. The price truth. Whatever it is, just you have to advertise the price that you are offering. Whatever you end up paying is what has to be on the thing. No hidden fees, price transparency, whatever it is. Just a fucking upfront delivery of costs so the customer can make a rational choice. That alone, even if the prices didn't get lowered, that alone would help so much because people would just choose to go elsewhere much earlier and easier. And then when they do that, you'd have to lower your prices. But this is all based around psychological scamming. Include a transparency fee. They add on a transparency fee as a cost of keeping up with all this transparency.
choose to say, forget it. CNF charges, service fees, COVID recovery fees, and quote-unquote restaurant fees can add 4 to 5% to your meal cost on top of
fee is so
expected
funny.
tips and taxes.
I'm in a restaurant.
The really crazy
the
thing
fee
is
is the food cost. The restaurant fee in a restaurant is so fucking stupid. It's so stupid.
every time I've heard of someone asking to have this fee get waived if you ask the manager, is that they do, because they add zero actual value to your dining experience. But restaurants count on customers either overlooking, being too shy, or too tired to question these charges.
Dude, I didn't know you could get it removed by asking. That's fucking crazy. Hey, the more you learn.
So they keep adding them to every bill and hoping that no one notices.
If you've been visiting Las Vegas for years, you've probably noticed a change that's gradually taking place across many casino floors. There used to be
Dude, it's literally systemized turning everyone into Karens. Everyone has to become a Karen to survive. That's crazy. That's fucking crazy. What a demoralizing thought. If you aren't an asshole enough to do it, we're going to constantly abuse you.
Plenty of table games like blackjack and craps all over the place. But as the years have progressed, those table games have been removed and they have been replaced by seemingly endless banks of more.
Dude, the other thing they did that's so fucked up is they added a 000 to roulette. I saw this on my last trip to Vegas. A third zero. If you don't understand how, if you're not a gambler, how disgusting that is. You know, in Europe, they have 1 0, and that makes the odds still in their favor. Then we added 2, and it's been the standard in America for a long time to have 2 zeros. Fine. They added a fucking third one. They added a third 0, 3 Let me show you. Look at this. Oh, give me a bigger photo. Oh, whatever. Dude, look at this. It when they spread it out like this, it looks like I feel like I'm 90% gonna hit the green. What's the B, by the way? What's the yellow? I don't know, but it's so greedy. It's so fucking greedy. If you don't understand, most people when they play roulette bet red or black. And so the casinos have this 1 green 0 that makes it so they have a slight edge. Because if it was purely half red, half black, then betting on red or black would be true odds. And you'd win half the time and casino would have no profit. So they have 1 0 where if it hits on that, everybody loses and they win. And they get to keep the money. It's fine. That's their cost of running business. It's gambling. I don't expect it to be profitable. So 1 0 makes sense. Then they wanted to squeeze more money out of it, so they added a second 0. But a third one is it's so absurd, bro. Why not just make it fucking all zeros and 1 red? And I can't bet 0. Why not? Just fucking, why not? Stupid assholes. Can't you bet on 0? Yeah, you can bet on 0, but the odds are not in your favor there either because it's likely it doesn't hit 0. It's just that the 0 exists so that red or black can't be pure. A fourth 0 would be fire.
And more slot machines.
This isn't just about efficiency for space. It's about completely changing the odds in favor of the house. Table games like blackjack, craps, and baccarat typically have a house edge under 2% when played correctly, which gives players a better chance to win. But penny slots often give casinos around a 10% advantage, meaning they keep $10 out of every $100 played over the long term. Vegas doesn't want you to win like you used to. We can even look at over 20 years worth of data to see that Vegas casinos have been gradually making slot machines pay out less and less to players so that they can keep even more of your money.
That's disgusting.
From 2004 to 2024, strip casinos increase how much they are taking from every dollar you bet by 24%. While downtown casinos during the same time increase how much they are taking.
It's just so crazy. It's such an astronomical. I mean, listen, you know, it's you reap what you sow. The seeds come home to roost. Like Vegas is now empty entirely because of this. Like they did this, and customers. It took a while, but they responded by not going. So it works. Listen, I'm not even. This is the cost you pay. It's like when McDonald's raised their prices too much, people started going elsewhere, and now they're panicking and trying to lower everything. Like, it happens. However, the audacity to be in a business like a casino, which is the most close you can get to printing money, a license to print money. People come in, they play a game they mathematically will lose at, and you win money. And thinking, but we gotta choose those numbers. I think that's so crazy. It's audacious. It costs money to run a casino. I understand that. I do understand that. I understand why they need the zero there. I get it. I really do. The casino is an experience, and I don't expect to win. But there's a line, okay? You have to have some odd. If otherwise, they would make it 1% their favor, and no one would go. Okay, there's a line, and they've found it. It's over the line now.
Players by 45%. So when you hear people talk about how much more generous Vegas used to be, you can use these slot hold percentages as proof. Aside from the fact that casinos make more money with slots than table games, slot machines also don't call in sick for work, they don't need to take lunch breaks, they don't get overtime pay, they don't receive health benefits, and they don't file complaints. These are all things that help casinos save money on top of now winning more money. So by removing tables and adding more slots, casinos guarantee themselves much higher profits from the same amount of floor space. The result is fewer opportunities for knowledgeable players to get decent odds and more mindless button pushing that drains bankrolls faster than ever.
Many experienced players call what you see right behind me the biggest ripoff in modern casino history. And a lot of casual players have no idea that every time they sit down at this game, that they are getting mathematically screwed. This single rule change has largely altered the most popular table game in Las Vegas, and the majority of players don't even notice.
The deception is particularly cruel because these rigged games look identical to fair blackjack tables from a distance, and not all dealers explain the difference unless you specifically ask. Traditional blackjack pays 3-2 when you get a natural 21, meaning a $100 bet pays $150. But the strip is now filled with tables that only pay 6-5, so that same $100 blackjack only pays $120, stealing $30 from every natural you hit. And over the course of a gambling session, this difference can add up to hundreds of dollars in lost winnings.
It's fucked up because getting a blackjack in Vegas is one of the few joys in that hellhole. Putting a bet down and getting a blackjack is one of the few simple pleasures left in that fucking desert of sin. And when you get it and you don't get the payout that you expect to get, it is fucked up. A gambling fee.
The worst part is that these terrible games often sit right next to 3-2 tables, but the minimum bets are usually much higher on the fair games, pushing many players into the sucker bets.
So why do casinos keep doing this? The reason these rip-off games exist is very simple. Tourists keep playing them anyway. Casino executives have figured out that they can offer absolutely terrible odds and still fill seats as long as the games look familiar from a distance.
This creates a rather depressing cycle where customer ignorance feeds the corporate greed that so many people come to associate with the big casinos. And the problem has been gradually getting worse for years. The most frustrating part is watching smart people who are successful in other areas of life repeatedly make these costly mistakes without learning from them. A former casino employee at the Venetian once told me that when they introduced triple zero roulette in 2016, they expected nobody would play it because the odds were so terrible. But players flocked to those tables anyway because they didn't understand the difference between good.
Dude, I'm on an insane hot streak today. I'm on an insane. This might be a legendary GSS. This is like an all-time GSS, bro. I feel like I'm in the fucking Matrix today. I'm in the Matrix on. You guys sent the videos in, bro. I have not watched any of these videos. I'm just living life, okay? I'm reading. I'm up to date with these stories.
good and bad roulette games. A roulette dealer at one luxury property let me know that he even tells players up front that the company logo represents 000, basically admitting the deceptive tactics employed by the
Oh my God, I haven't seen that though. That is disgusting. Putting the Mirage logo as a separate item, but it's actually a third zero. Oh God, it's so dude, I fucking hate Vegas actually. Even though I have a gambler's brain and I do have many joyous memories in Vegas, it actually is so fucking ridiculous. That's so ridiculous. That is so gross. That is so fucked up.
Casinos, but people keep playing anyway. This proves that casinos can get away with offering terrible odds because most players simply don't understand what they're getting into.
What used to be a problem mainly in some areas of downtown has now spread throughout the entire tourist corridor in ways that shock first-time visitors and longtime locals alike. The homeless population in the Vegas area has grown every single year since 2021, and it's had a 56% increase in the last 3 years. And I myself...
Economy's doing great though, I promise you. I promise you. Stock market is up, bro. The economy's doing great. You have to know that. Just understand that we are in a boom time. We're in a golden age. People are noticing that times are good.
Have been inside a casino before where I'm standing there talking or actually playing a slot machine and had someone come up to me and then ask me for money. And I know some of you have had the same thing when you come here to visit.
This situation has deteriorated to the point where it's destroying the fantasy escape that Vegas is supposed to provide for people on a vacation. This isn't just about people asking for money on the street anymore. It's direct interference with casino gaming that makes players feel uncomfortable and unsafe. It is now more common for homeless people to regularly enter casinos and even approach players at slot machines, creating an awkward and sometimes dangerous situation. Some incidents with homeless individuals inside Vegas.
Dude, tough to tell someone homeless that you don't have any change as you feed it into a fucking Wheel of Fortune slot machine. That's a difficult... I got nothing on me, bro.
Casinos escalated to the point of making national news, like the man who set off an explosion at the Paris casino, causing $50,000 in damage. The man was later released with the condition that he stay out of trouble, but these are the kind of situations that make visitors feel like Vegas isn't the safe escape it used to be. And people approaching you while you're playing a slot machine to ask you for money is not what anyone wants on their vacation.
The tariffs that were put in place in early 2025 has many international tourists staying away from Las Vegas due to uncertainty.
This matters a lot because international tourists typically stay longer, gamble more, and spend more on shows and dining than domestic visitors. New trade policies have made traveling to the U.S. more expensive for...
Greatest economy ever. That's right, I have to keep asking. Greatest economy ever. Boom time. Tariffs are working. If you disagree, you're a woke liberal soy cuck. Just, I'll let him speak, but you have to know that.
Foreign tourists, while Canadian airlines have reduced flights to Vegas as demand dropped. The economic concerns go beyond just Vegas, with inflation affecting travel costs nationwide and real estate markets slowing down in various parts of the country. And when people are worried about their jobs and their home values, Vegas vacations become an easy expense to cut from their budgets.
Major strip properties chose to lay off hundreds of employees as visitor numbers continue to drop month after month.
Greatest economy ever. Boom times. Things are great. We are crushing it. Envy of the world. President's cooking.
From what they used to be. These cuts represent more than just cost-saving measures. They're a clear sign that casino executives are proactively cutting costs because they are uncertain about the future of Las Vegas.
Fontainebleau cut numerous table games dealers in the first half of 2025, while other properties have eliminated entire departments like concierge services at MGM Grand, Park MGM, New York, Mandalay Bay, and Vdara. And although these employees are commonly told that the layoffs are just temporary, there's no guarantee that they will be called back to work at their old job. One off-strip casino manager told me that just a $1 minimum wage increase costs his property an extra $1 million annually in labor costs, which also makes it more difficult to offer customers the same value that they've been used to getting. When casinos can't fill rooms and gaming floors, they're forced to reduce staff to keep down their costs. But this can create a poor experience for the customers that are still visiting.
The hotels and casinos that can...
They should reduce the quality of the service while at the same time increasing the price. And that way the customers will get a real fond memory of Vegas. They'll feel...
can benefit most from the recent problems in Las Vegas are the North Strip properties like the Sahara and the Strat, the off-strip properties, and the downtown ones. These properties have kept their commitment to affordable gambling and reasonable prices for their customers, while many strip properties have gone crazy with fees and terrible odds.
Smart gamblers are starting to realize that significantly better deals exist just minutes away from the overpriced strip properties that get most of the attention. The contrast in value has also become so dramatic that many experienced visitors never set foot on the strip anymore except to see...
Smart gambler is an oxymoron. However, my little brother does this. He makes us go to dude, I can't remember the name of the casino. It's this fucking hole-in-the-wall casino with good odds on craps. What is it? What is it fucking called? It's so far from the strip. I wish someone would say it. It's like, it's Ellis Island. It's Ellis Island. You know it. You're a gambler. I think it's Ellis Island, bro. I think it's exactly what you said. You call that shit Insta all caps. Yeah, he makes us go to Ellis Island and he bets against the table. He bets the don't pass line, if you don't know craps, but it's like you're betting on everyone else to lose. My brother's a fucking psycho. And he sits there with the statistically best odds you can get. He plays the villain, and he laughs when everyone else loses.
shows or eat at specific restaurants. Places like Ellis Island offer $5 craps and $5...
No fucking way! No fucking way, dude, I swear. Holy shit. Holy shit. Whoa, spooky. Wait a minute, spooky, dude. This is a legendary GSS. Wait, I have the sight. I have the vision. I have the fucking vision. Holy, what's... Oh, wait, that's so ravening right now. I can see. Wait a minute. I'm getting a vision. I think, this is going to sound crazy, I think Donald Trump is on the Epstein list. Wait a minute. I know it sounds fucking crazy because how could he be? But I think he's actually on the list.
3-2 blackjack with table minimums that never increase, even when the casino is packed. South Point provides affordable gaming with a wide variety of options for players. The Plaza Casino has single zero roulette that is a 15 minimum.
Lisan Al Glizzy. What a wild day.
Day and a $25 minimum at night. The Palms Casino began offering $5 3-2 blackjack and craps 24 hours a day in early 2025, directly targeting frustrated strip visitors who are tired of feeling like they're getting ripped off. Many off-strip properties...
Dude, it's so funny because they are getting ripped off still. It's still gambling. It's still a game where you're guaranteed to lose. It's just not so egregious. It's like... You know, they can have normal payouts for craps, and it's still most likely going to roll a 7 and you lose. It's just funny that they've gotten so greedy with it because I just want an honest drug dealer. Yeah, exactly. If you're a broke boy, just say so.
Especially benefit since they're already known for cheaper drinks, better gambling odds, and lower table minimums across the board. Some of these properties are experiencing increased business as strip prices push more players their way, proving that there's still a market for honest value in Las Vegas.
The good news is that
calling a casino honest value because it's not as egregious as that's so funny. There's like, it's probably the least honest business there is, bro.
Las Vegas will always change with the market. Smart travelers are discovering that the recent changes in tourism actually creates opportunities to get better deals if you know where to look. The hospitality industry's need to fill these hotel rooms creates more and more opportunities and more discounts than we.
That is true. I mean, realistically, if you did want to go to Vegas, it would actually be a good time around now, right? Because they're desperate. They're desperate. You could probably get a much better deal. You could probably get a fucking crazy deal. For at least the more struggling big casinos. They're dropping. Yeah, the prices have to be dropping. Like, people are waking up to the fact that this is just fucking insanely overpriced, and then they're not doing it, and so they have to lower price. It's like the same thing happened with fast food. The exact same thing happened because it is a business where you have competition. They can go somewhere else. There's just that period in between when people's switching costs are not there yet, and their habit hasn't been broken. Let's all go gamble. I'm not saying that.
We've seen in recent years. And despite all of this, Las Vegas still offers amazing value per dollar compared to most other tourist destinations in the country. So even if the major strip casinos still try to squeeze every dollar they can out of the tourists who come here, there are plenty of other affordable options for you to have fun all around the Vegas Valley.
Food and drinks in general are something that have become much more expensive in Vegas.
I mean, I think the guy who has like the Vegas themed YouTube channel has to say that. Because, yeah, his name is Jacob's Life in Vegas. That's the name of his YouTube channel. Of course, he can't end it by saying, "Yeah, Vegas fucking sucks." But he was. I mean, that video was good. That was a good video. No cap. Whoever suggested that was awesome. It's good to see an update from someone there on just what's going on because you keep hearing about how the dead nightlife, but. All right, chat. I usually would end right about now, but I'm going to play a little Age of Empires because I'm addicted and I have a goal. I'm not doing Smallville tonight. I appreciate the Smallville fans, but I will do it Monday. But we did Smallville a bunch in a row, and now I'm taking a little break, and I'll be back on no stream Sunday. I'm doing a pool party actually. I'm hosting. By the way, if you're wondering if I'm doing a rich flex, I do not own a pool. I rented it on an app called Swimply. I rented a rich person's pool. The appification and everything. Well, I'll say it. This is not an ad for X pool sharing app, but it's awesome. It was useful. Feels richer than owning a pool. It's like it's a nice person's pool, a nice Beverly Hills place, and were the owners chill or annoying? They were so fucking chill. But I think I honestly think this is what's happening. I think the owners of this pool, because it's like it's not a mansion. It probably is. It's a very nice house with a very nice pool. Okay. And the rental cost is not that high for how many guests we have and how many hours we're getting. You can't go in the house. You can only go in the pool. However, I think the owners are a real estate group who own like 5 or 6 properties they can't sell. So they are farming out the pools to try and make ends meet on the mortgages. Not a real estate, not like a conglomerate. Like it's a couple, but they only owe. I think they can't Airbnb it, so the deal's actually pretty good. I think my invitation got lost in the mail. What time do I pull up? You guys are all invited, obviously. Everyone show up. You know this place, and we'll. Is the pool the bathroom too? No, dude. Are any of you guys Smash Bros people? Do you know the Crimson Blur? Dude, we did this pool party last year. I do it every year. I do this pool party every year. And the pool we rented had an outdoor, outhouse bathroom next to the pool that we were all allowed to use. And Blur went in there early on and broke it. just clogged it up real fucking good. So nobody had a bathroom the whole time. Completely ruined it at minute one of the party. And also, not to throw him under the bus, but didn't say anything. We had to get to the bottom of it. Just left and didn't fucking say anything. Actually fucked up, Blur. I wouldn't either. You don't have to announce it. He just has to come out to the party and be like, hey, I'm the shit clogger. But he could go to me, the host of the party, and be like, hey, bro, I don't know what to do. Is there a plunger? Like, he could have said something. You don't have to make it a fucking content piece, but you can't ignore it. Okay. Age of Empires game for the real ones. Listen, let me give you an update on my progress here. Wait, Atrioc, Age of... If you guys don't know, I've been recently addicted to the game Age of Empires 2, which is nearly a 20-year-old game, but still has a huge player base. And it actually is probably the hardest, most brain-firing real-time strategy game out there right now. And it has a big, Western player base, which is cool. They still released expansion pack like a month ago. It's crazy. I have now put in 300 ranked games, and I am at a solid 1,300 elo, which is pretty good, putting me top 7,000 on the ladder. However, I think I've maxed out here. Getting to that 1,400 level is taking a level of focus and knowledge that I don't have yet. Everyone hits me with something fucking random, and it's killing me. What are you aiming for? Right now, 1,400. I think if I really feel like I click, I want to go to 1,500, because that would put me in like nearly top 1,000. It would put me in like a really, I would be pretty damn good for a really hard game, and I would feel, I like these challenges because I prove to myself that I can learn something if I put my mind to it. That's why I like doing it. But I'm getting old or something because this is fucking hard. I'm having a real hard time learning this stuff. It feels like every game I make one small mistake that I don't notice, and I get destroyed for it. And everyone's cracked. Now, TFT was easy. I got masters in TFT in no time. That goal was not too hard. Not no time, but like the card games I can still grind because card games have no mechanical skill. But now I'm too fucking old to be playing as fast as these cracked kids and strategically and learn all this stuff. It's fucking hard. I'm trying. I'll be honest with you, I'm trying. I don't want to give up because it's important to my self-identity that I can do this, but it's also taking over my life. Like I'm watching Age of Empires VODs in the shower. It's just there's youths on AoE 2 for sure. I'm not saying 16-year-olds, but the best player in the world is 24, 25. So he's way younger than me. He's a decade younger than me. Are you a big Hera fan? Me and Hera are friends now, bro. All right? Me and LeBron are friends in basketball. Me and Hera are friends in... I might go and hang out with Hera in China during the next big Age of Empires LAN tournament. I'm considering. I really want to go, even if we don't get the Patreon goal. I think part of it is that I picked a very difficult civilization. I picked the Vikings, and they just have... Dude, I can't even hear myself think with the sound. I picked the Vikings, and the problem with the Vikings is that they are not a late... They have the worst late game of every civ. They're a timing attack, economy, early game, middle game civ. This is what Hera told me too. They have the worst late game of every civ here. So like, it's the opposite of how I used to play with China in AoE 4, where it was like, I had the best late game, I just had to survive. And so I could make my whole plan around surviving. But now I have to be the one attacking, and this game is fucking hard to like make pressure in. There's walls, and it's just a... Why not just switch? I feel like that would be giving up. I feel like I've committed to the Vikings. I like the skull theme. I like the hat. I just have to learn how to do it. And I know I can, but I don't know if the cost is worth it. It's like I have to study. I have to study and practice and grind and lose sleep. And I've been doing some of that, and it's like, oh boy. But I do want to get there. So anyway, I find myself right now at 1307. 1307, 53% win rate, rank 7731 on the ladder. And I would like to queue up and keep trying. So, without further ado, let's enter queue. How many minutes per game? My goal is to end it around 30 minutes. Well, I actually don't know because they use a different time system. 30 minutes game time is not 30 minutes real time, but around 30